test, 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 test.
Where are we gonna have? So we'll probably have
Down here, we'll get it organized.
like a seating map, like this. Hey guys. Hey Ryan, where the fuck is that freeze that we have to get us? I have no idea. Yes, you good?
I honestly, I don't think it's that bad.
So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Otherwise known as the House of Drift. Arguably one of the most iconic drift tracks in the world. It's been on the FD roster since 2004 and only one of 2 tracks since day one. The stage is set with ideal conditions to crown a champion. Welcome everybody to the House of Drift, and this is the Type S title fight weekend because it's a triple header, baby. We got Pro on Friday, Pro 2 on Saturday, and we find out who the champion in the Link ECU Pro 2 Championship is tomorrow night, and then eventually Sunday night, round 8. A wacky, wild 2020 season culminates. I am Jared Deanna. Joining me once again here is Ryan Sage. Ryan, we're familiar with the backdrop, but quite a different setting. We're going to light it up both on track and off track because courtesy of some Type S lights, but it's great to be back here. It's good to be back for drifting fans.
It's always an interesting feeling coming to Irwindale. This has been around since the beginning, 17 seasons. It is the House of Drift. It's a little bit different this time around with no fans here, and I have to tell you, the energy is a lot different. You know, used to walking around in the pit, in the paddock, and seeing all the fans and getting super excited, but we don't have that this year. However, we do have basically a triple header going on this weekend. One deviation that we've had for this event compared to the prior rounds is that Pro is today. They've got a break tomorrow. That's where we'll slot in Pro 2, and then the finals on Sunday. So it's a really tight championship. It could go any direction depending on what happens. We've got all kinds of great matchups in the top 32. It's going to be a banger.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And again, just I think the format of going Pro on Friday, Pro 2 Saturday, and Pro on Sunday gives them, 24 hours to basically work on their vehicles. These are the matchups, and you can see 4 of the drivers there that are in the top 10, but the contender, Vaughn Gittin Jr., leads the pack. He gets a bye. Fast pass in top 16. Adam LZ, we'll find out some more information on him, but he gets a bye, as does Chris Forsberg and Chelsea Denofa. Those are the points. Look at that. Within 10, you got 8 points between Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Ryan Turk. Chris Forsberg, you see 364. Chelsea Denofa in 4th, and Frederick Osbo in 5th. Mathematically, who's gunning for the championship? You get 100 points each round, so 200 up for grabs. Who's going to choke? Who's going to put it together? Who's going to really rise to the top?
I think realistically, it's the top 5, 6 guys that are within that 100-point range coming into this round. We see Chelsea Denofa here. He certainly has put himself in a good position to attack, but right now, number 1 and number 2 are only 8 points apart. That is Vaughn Gittin Jr., your series leader as of last round, and Ryan Turk, who's been steady pace the entire season, leading most of the way. And then we saw Chris Forsberg, who seeded the bracket, and we'll talk more about that later on in the show. He seeds the bracket and pulls a really good number. He pulled number 2, gives himself a bye. But we know, Jared, and we'll talk more about this, what has happened over the past 12 hours from practice yesterday is that a lot of things that you wouldn't have expected, but maybe because it's Irwindale, we should expect, with the attrition that's gone on, is going to change some of the structure of what we would, initially think would be coming into this event and how competition might play out. Things are happening to drivers in their cars.
And I'm trying to think about, it seems like forever ago, and it seems like just yesterday. St. Louis, we kicked off, Osbo debuts a new car. Papadakis Racing, takes Ryan Turk, and he's in that Toyota Corolla hatchback. Osbo comes out swinging. He gets that win right out of the gate. But then Vaughn Gittin Jr., things really turned around for him with that doubleheader win in Seattle. But, I mean, it's been a wacky, wild year. And you know what? Hats off to all the hardworking teams and crews with these doubleheader setups. I mean, that's kind of, I don't want to say the unsung hero because I believe they do get praises from their teams, but it just needs to be acknowledged.
Everybody has adapted this year, from drivers to mechanics to the series itself. And, we've been telling a certain story in competition, and it's going to culminate here this weekend. Some of the interesting things that have stood out to me is that the series is much different without James Dean and Peter Vinsek. The competition in this doubleheader format is much different. And I think we'll sit back and reflect on that when the season is over, no matter who wins the championship, and figure out, what did we learn this year with all the sacrifices that are being made. One of the big stories, obviously, has been Chris Forsberg, who jumped up from much poorer in the standings to 3rd place, but he had a really tough time yesterday, popped a motor. That is not his regular competition car.
No, he pulled one of his twin turbo Zs out of the stable in order to run here because did not have a backup VR engine in his Nissan 370Z. So Lorette Nickel caught up with the 3-time champion.
Thank you, Jared. Well, Chris Forsberg, we've heard some rumors that you guys are battling some engine gremlins, some motor problems. What's going on?
Yeah, so yesterday was practice, we were feeling great, I like that. So then when we hit the night practice, we had some issues with the motor. And, the team was working on that last night. We're coming up with the best, some film for today. And, we're definitely kind of got a lot of other back for today. And, hoping to, Saturday, take points if we can and regroup and, plan ahead for Sunday as well.
Chris, thank you so much.
So very difficult turn of events there for Forsberg, who's coming into this round 3rd place. And just, at the most recent round to this round was in Texas, and he eventually got the win. It was something that he, a lot of the drivers are getting heavily emotional here, like this season, just given, their programs, their commitments, their competition. Maybe they haven't seen the win in a few years, just like Chris Forsberg did. We saw Vaughn break down, on that win in Saturday. It's just been a real emotional year for everybody, let's be honest.
No, I think that's right, and especially with Chris. I mean, we had a big documentary series with him over the break, and one of the things that really stood out to me is he basically said, look, when I have a car that's working the way that I need it to, and I can use that car to put my driving on track, I'm always going to be a championship contender. And that has been the story again this year. Now, how difficult is it going to be for him to do that with a car that's got 500 horsepower? And that's the car that he has out on the course right now. So, like he said, he's very much in a lucky situation where he's got to buy into the top 16, so he can kind of salvage a little bit of today. But what's going to happen tomorrow, and does that make it a much smaller race for the championship? Does that focus much more on Vaughn Gittin Jr., Ryan Turk, and Frederick Osbo, along with Chelsea DeNova?
Yeah, and that's just shaking things up. So Chris Forsberg doesn't really necessarily get the win here as we about to go into 32. He will have that bye run, but here is a look at all of the winners of the previous round. So again, I talked about Osbo coming out, debuting a new car. A lot of questions. Will he be able to deliver? Yes. The answer is yes, and he is still a contender for that top 3 finish and potentially even a win. He would need something very devastating to happen to Vaughn or Ryan, but Chelsea jump off the wall in celebration, breaks his heels at round 2, and then Vaughn, like we said, just emotional, first ever back-to-back victories for him, and that was absolutely awesome. And then Ryan Turk in Dallas, he won that round, and then Chris Forsberg that we just talked about. round 6, rounding out that doubleheader weekend, and here we are at Irwindale. You could see, just all these notable names, previous champions. Michael Essa there. We can see, it looks like Rome Charpentier getting ready, and there are the Papadakis boys there, Ryan.
Yeah, and I know that one of the big stories coming out of Texas was Adam LZ and how well he's been performing.
Strong.
Lorette Nickel is down to talk to Adam right now.
Thank you, guys. So Adam LZ has stepped out of his right-hand 2JZ S15 into Odi Bakshis's 2019 competition car, which is a left-hand V8. Can you talk to us about what led that change?
Well, we had an engine failure yesterday, and it was one of those things where we knew that the other drivers were going to want to run their buy runs, and we weren't going to be able to have it together to run the buy run. And he had an arrive and drive sticker on his car, and I hit him up. I was like, "Yo, can I drive it?" And then I did.
Well, how's your comfort level with the car? Because you're jumping into something brand new.
To be fair, I think I feel more comfortable in this car than I do in my S15, because I just got back from Drift Week, and I've been doing probably 10 events in a completely different chassis. And maybe this feels closer to it than another one. I don't know.
Okay, but you're taking on a legendary track here at the House of Drift. So how do you get everything dialed in?
Practice? I don't know. Just doing my best.
All right, Adam, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, thank you so much, Laura. Yeah, how do it better? Practice? Question mark? I guess, but yeah, just getting more familiar with the vehicle. This, Ryan, let's walk through the track here, because it is a little bit different. We've kind of seen iterations of this over the previous 16 years, but break it down.
Yeah, we wanted to try something a little bit bigger and a little bit different for this event to challenge drivers and also give something new and unique to the fans. This is the first time in many years since the time of the tire to weight ratio that we've gone with the right-hand hook going around the pole. Now you'll see there the decel areas are basically what you're used to for the first half of the course, but we've got those decel areas that were taken off of telemetry data from a number of vehicles last night to give us an understanding of where cars are kind of dialing down the speed, changing momentum, or braking. And so that is the map that the judges will be using.
Yeah, again, just going back to that rent-a-ride, Odie had that vehicle, and you could see, it's kind of doing some patchwork there of Adam's vehicle, and we'll see how he fares. Again, fighting for that Rookie of the Year. When we come back, we'll get this party started here. Top 32, the Type S title fight weekend here at Irwindale. When we come back, we'll jump into Top 32.
Your body is a machine with 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignite it. NOS Energy, human horsepower.
What takes me to my happy place is actually adding a bottle of Royal Purple Max Boost every time I fill up my tank, and literally feeling the difference it makes with my engine. It's like putting on your favorite pair of socks. What a coincidence. Now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, when you buy a bottle of Max Boost, Royal Purple is going to send you a pair of Royal Purple designer socks. Personally, this might be one of the best promos ever. Max Boost bumps up that octane number a legit 3 points, and the socks put some heat on your feet. How you doing, right?
The Falcon Azenis RT660 is the enthusiast choice for ultra-high performance. Engineered for predictable handling and stability, the RT660 provides maximum traction both on and off the track. Your competitive edge has arrived with the Falcon Azenis RT660.
To let you know about the Ford Performance Drift and Dirt Sweepstakes, where you can win your choice of a brand new 2021 Ford Super Duty Tremor, which is ready for work or outdoor adventure at any time.
Or a 480 horsepower track-ready 2021 Ford Mustang Mach 1.
All you have to do is head to driftanddirt.com for your chance to win.
Link ECU produces standalone engine management technology with a range of products that allow you to unleash the power of your engine. Acting as your car's brain, Link ECUs control electronic fuel injection and ignition. A magnitude of sensor inputs and outputs ensure your engine exceeds your expectations. Built-in safety features guarantee engine protection, and data logs keep you informed on its performance. Smoke your tires, not your engine, with a world-leading Link ECU.
Formula Drift is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift, the synthetic expert. NOS, the official energy drink of Formula Drift. NOS High Performance Energy. How hard will you drive? All right, the track is getting set up there. You can see our officials, our judges down there striping the track, making sure all the cones are in the respective place. We're going to go into 32. Again, the update on the action. Vaughn leads the pack. Ryan Turk right behind him, 8 points. Forsberg behind them, but he is in a backup vehicle coming into after last night's practice. And then behind him, you got Osbo, you got Chelsea Denofa, and we have two rounds, 200 points up for stakes. Ryan just overall making for an exciting. It always comes down to Irwindale, and we have some special guests. We have some lights. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, it is going to be a nighttime event. After we get through the top 32, the sun will go down, and we'll light up the course with our Type S LEDs and the underglow from all the drivers here. But it's really going to be about the competition story. And as you said, Jared, so much have already happened. Now, remember, going back to Texas, Chris Forsberg was your winner of that round. Take a look at how it worked out for him in the seeding bracket. Now, some of the fans still quite don't understand how the seeding works. If you take a look at Chris, we basically give him an option to pick a number out of a hat random, and then he can only pick numbers 2 through 15.
Right.
He got lucky and got number 2, and that's why he's got a bye. Now, once he picks number 2, we invert the top 16 drivers, and then the rest of the bracket is filled in. So we've seen drivers like Denofa pick number 8, and it really switches things up. But in this case, it was pretty similar to what you would expect if you just seeded the bracket from their positioning coming out of Texas. So this is good news for the Forsberg, Gittins, Denofas of the world, and this is exactly how it shakes out in application. We said that Chris obviously is in a backup car. Well, Adam LZ is as well, driving that S14.5 of Odi Bakchis, renting it from him to try and keep that lead in the Rookie of the Year class. Doing very well, had a strong event in Texas, really surprised a lot of people, but I think his driving is speaking for himself. On the other side, you got Chelsea Denofa, who hasn't had the victory that he wanted to get against his teammate this year in 2 different events, but he's in a really unique position on his side of the bracket where this could be an opportunity for him to strike and take away some of those championship points from the top 3 guys.
I mean, he would have to go against either Masuyama, who we saw really rise up in Texas, and Matt Field, who, you know, we've seen just glimmers of seeing him really rise to it. But I mean, the rookies are always really interesting to me because some really flourish and some flounder. And I would say we have a really good stacked rookie FD, you know, alum here this year. Masuyama, who we talked about, Naren. Unfortunately, Tyler Nelson's not here, but Alec Robbins, we missed him at Texas. He did come down positive with COVID, but he's back now. He's healthy, him and his wife, so it's glad to hear that. But again, we saw the decel area. You see this track, but we are getting ready here in just a little bit.
Yeah, really interested to see how the judges approach this. And as you know, this is a no qualifying event. It's a tandem format. Pretty simple here if you're a fan of Formula Drift. Each battle consists of 2 runs. The higher qualified driver, or the higher seated driver in this case, will lead the first run. He will chase the second, and then for the judges, they have 3 options: driver A, driver B, or one more time.
And let's take a look at the lead driver goals. Of course, you want to run the qualifying line or just hit all those outside zones, hit the inside clips, put the car in the right place. Run a 100-point qualifying run, run a chaseable lead run, meaning if it's not a good run, you're going to get docked.
Yeah, and I want to say something that's been a trend this year. The judges, just as they put a lot of pressure on the chase driver to stay close with proximity, they also really have been dinging the lead driver for not giving the chase driver a good lead to run against. And there was some talk about that in the drivers' meeting, and the drivers really seem to like that the chase driver the lead driver has that kind of equal responsibility to do the right thing, and if they make mistakes, it can get held against them.
Yeah. We saw the chase, basically what they needed to do as well. So you've seen the lay of the land. We've seen the accel decel area. We've seen the expectations from the judges, and of course this iconic, infamous bank that we've been shredding on for 17 years. So it's been quite the experience. So grab an os, grab a good time as we're ready to shred. And Ryan, thank you so much, man. It's great to be back here again after 17 years and just a wacky 2020, man.
Yeah, in a weird way, you know, I'm happy to get the season over and start looking towards 21, but in the same sense, you know, there's a little bit of pride that this entire drifting community has come together to make this happen. Not a lot of other sports are really going through this, and we have something really cool actually that we brought in for this event. This is the AEM virtual fan zone, so this is kind of a play off of all the Zoom meetings that everybody's going through, and we've got tons of fans that are joining us online right now.
I can even see Kemp there in the building. Kemp's hyped as well. But yeah, if you don't know what this is, if you haven't heard about it, it's the AEM virtual fan zone. See, there's some VIPs that we had to get on in here, and they're going to be watching right front and center. AEM Intakes has been a leader in the development of precision-tuned air intakes since 1987. AEM actually pioneered the dry flow air filter and offered one of the first packaged intake systems on the market. Today, the same innovation is used to design premium products for the latest tuner platforms. AEM dry flow air filters are track proven, winning more FD championships than any other air filter brand. If you're looking for a proven horsepower increase for your car, check out aemintakes.com today. So
I love it.
Yeah. This is awesome. So AEM Virtual Fan Zone. Let's take a look back at Ryan Turk. Again, getting that new vehicle. It's a very proven chassis. That was Osbo's vehicle. Handed him the keys, and he takes it to the top at round 5.
Yeah, Ryan Turk has stepped up this year. He got into a car, as you said, that is a proven chassis, but he has done a tremendous job this year in consistency. He's found a way to win. We haven't seen the kind of attack that we would have expected out of his teammate Frederick Osbo. I feel like this event could be a breakout for him. He had that first round where we're like, wow, the Supra is incredible. But really, the tables got turned, and Ryan Turk has been the focus of our championship. He's got a win. He's been on the podium almost every single round and just looked solid and consistent and was able to jump into that vehicle and look like he was at home there to be competitive against the top drifters in the world.
And if you can recall, that car took quite a beating in Texas. I mean, you saw that thing. It was ridden hard and put away, banged up, man. I mean, I don't think there's a straight panel on it, but hats off to his team. I saw him earlier this week on social media saying, all right, she's buttoned up, she's ready to go. But if you remember Forsberg, his wheel caught on fire. If that was pretty exciting, that back left. Texas always is just a very interesting event. You either love it or you hate it. Made for some exciting driving. Overall, it was wacky again, but it was one for the books.
It certainly was. I know there was deep frustrations across the board on many different levels there. The track is so challenging for the drivers, and the smoke can be so bad, especially coming through that center section. It really, I think, shows a lot of how the drivers have, over time, figured out how to battle with other competitors in conditions that are not like Irwindale Speedway, where the track is still difficult. It's a very challenging track, but there's a lot of history here. There's a lot of practice time. People understand this. They know where the danger points are, especially coming into the inside bank where we've seen a ton of drivers go into the wall. And that always tends to happen at the last event of the year, right? But that's not today. No. That's Sunday.
Yeah, right. I know. Great. That's a great point, because we're so excited here as we're about to turn and burn here with our first run. It will be a buy run, and the drivers were given the option of saying, hey, do you want to run your buy run or do you not? all 4 drivers says, yes, we want to run our bye run. So this is a good opportunity to get used to the car. So let's celebrate with little sounds of the game here, talking about Vaughn Gittin Jr., our current points leader, our first run, and now he gets the fast pass in the top 16, that Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. And there we go, full pull there for Vaughn Gittin Jr. That is his bye run. He will make the fast pass in top 16. Ryan, I'm looking at this and how long we laid out there and just listened to the wound up engine underneath the hood of that Ford Mustang. How do you think the tire attrition is going to play? It's that slight, chicane there towards the end of what was normally, we'd finish the course just a turn and a half before. Wonder how tires are going to hold up.
Drivers will definitely make adjustments. I can tell you the engineering that is going into these vehicles and the know-how to be able to conserve tire even with high horsepower is incredible these days.
Yep.
One thing that was really tough about last year's course, or courses that we've had here for the past couple of years, is so much of the wear was on the right rear, right? Because it's basically always a left-hand turn.
Yeah.
So this one, at least we come back the other way and get some equal wear, but this is the first time in a while where we've had an extended course, and outside zone 3, one of the things I don't like about it is it's the only part of the course that doesn't have a wall on an outside zone. And that's always really tricky. I think drivers, because of the off-camber turn there, some are really struggling trying to figure out what's the best way to lock into that area. How should I approach that? What visual cues and things do I have to look at if I'm a chase driver or if I'm a lead driver to be able to navigate that course in that section appropriately?
All right, here we go. Our first official battle here of round 7 of the Type S title fight. And we are ready to send it here with Justin Pollock and Jonathan Castro. And here we go. So Castro will be chasing down JTP in that Falcon Tires Ford Mustang. Nice, good initiation there from JTP. High on the wall, you can see throwing up that Falcon Tire rubber. Jonathan Castro dropping down, staying about mid-angle or mid-line on the bank. Whoa! Some lunging back and forth. That looks a little odd on that transition there from both JTP and Castro. I'm going to have to look at that again. I don't know if JTP threw Castro off both tight around that front clip. A little bit of checking up there. Now keep in mind of the Excel map and the decel map. There are areas that you're quote-unquote allowed to decel within reason. You're not going to come to a halt, obviously. I like what Ryan Lantain said earlier in the driver's meeting. He says, look, you got to think about road racing. You're not slowing down. You want to carry that speed and carry that momentum through the turn.
Well, one of the biggest challenges of this course is the first big bank because it takes up the entirety of that big bank. Now, Justin Pollock put out a good lead run from the onset. He was able to stay up high. We saw that Castro went a little bit lower. There, Justin Pollock really kind of slowed down a little bit after inside clip 1, and that kind of pushed Castro off to have to also make a mistake of his own. Now, the judges really do want to see momentum through inside clip 1 and then slowing down in the decel area approaching outside zone number 2. So I think that's going to be a little bit of a mistake on Pollock, even though he did have nice high proximity on the bank. See that big angle there? He really slowed up. Now, Castro made that mistake in the chase. Now, that could almost be looked at as an incomplete, but I feel that the judges are going to make an allotment for Castro because he was in proximity, and Pollock really was slowing in an area that he shouldn't have.
Yeah, like you said, that transition, the momentum. Speaking of our judges, I want to thank our judges, Chris Ewell, we got Brian Egger, and Ryan Lantain, our 3 judges up in the box. So now let's alternate the order here with Castro leading, Pollock giving chase. Run 2 of our top 32 battle. If you're watching, be sure to hashtag FDIRW and let everybody know you're watching live. Again, we've switched up the order. This is Pro. Pro 2 is Saturday, and then our final round of the title fight Sunday evening. Here we go. Castro initiates. Looks like Pollock is going to give himself a little bit of distance, a little bit of buffer, and Castro mid to high on the line, could be a little bit higher. We saw Pollock very high on the bank, almost touching the wall. Castro keeping it safe, coming to that second outside zone, filling all of it. You see Justin Pollock gain the proximity, massive angle there from Castro, gets all the way out, and Pollock keeping composure now, transition into that, buddy, in the outside zone. Ryan a little bit of, you can see, so Ryan pointed out there on the replay, where are the rear ends of the vehicles, where are the rear tires supposed to be? Because that's what you talked about. Just cones, just the edge of the course. Where are they supposed to be at?
The judges want to see in outside zone 3 the drivers get their tire to the edge of that white line there, and the cones are there as kind of a perimeter marker, so they really don't want the bumpers slapping the cones very heavily. You can see as we get this run started here, we come down, or excuse me, about halfway through. You can see Castro's doing a pretty good job on the inner bank. Pollock is in close proximity. He makes a slight adjustment right there in having some trouble transitioning into outside zone 3. Here it is again from inside clip. This transition right here, he's going to get a little bit wonky right there and kind of have to adjust. Now Castro is right at the edge there. He doesn't hit any of the cones, so he looks like he's well within bounds there for not being off course. But we did see, quite a few mistakes from both drivers here. Noticeably, Justin Pollock in the lead, big slowdown on inside clip 1. But Castro really didn't get a really good chase up until that point. You can see that Castro was midline on the bank. Really didn't get all the way deep into that first outside zone, which is critical. He does better on the second here. Now, as we get to the second inside clip, this is where Pollock is going to surge forward, has a little bit of a slight adjustment there in the chase position, and gets super close there towards the end.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of litmus test right there. That is the truth serum camera overhead, and I'm gonna get in with Ryan Lontaine here once he puts in his score. I wanna elaborate because you said so they don't want them hitting the cones. If you hit the cones, you've gone too far. The white line is the edge of the course, right? I mean, you want to stay within that drift, that outside zone box.
Yeah.
And it seemed that Castro that back left did exceed the edge of the course.
They would like you to see, or they'd like to see the rear tires on the edge of the line no further. But if the bumper, because the bumpers are longer for certain vehicles, they really just don't want those cones being hit, and that can be taken into consideration. Now we've got Ryan Lontaine coming on mic on comms here. Ryan, are you in? Can you hear us here? I don't know if we've got him live just yet, but we'll get Ryan on to talk about a little bit more specifics on the judging. But here's the side-by-side that we're so used to seeing. So, Ryan, tell us what you're looking at here.
Well, in the first place, I'm looking at what JTP did in the lead position. You were in the driver briefing. You heard me specifically say no handbrake, no left foot brake, no braking, nothing at inside clip 1. And he definitely had a lift and a handbrake pull in the lead position. Justin Pollock did. So that's not what we wanted to see in the lead. And you could see that it seriously affected what Castro was doing because he was in proximity at that point, and it threw him off considerably. You could see Castro had to check up so that he didn't make contact with Justin. And in the lead position, when Castro was leading, he did a pretty clean run. Maybe it wasn't as good as Justin's, minus that handbrake pull right there. But Justin also made some corrections in his chase run. So from my perspective, I think the other judges have their results in. It was just sloppy from both sides, and I went with a one more time based on that. And you can see that
one more time. So did Brian.
Brian went one more time, and Yule went with Castro.
All right. That's right. So Chris Yule's side. So it's going to be a one more time. Brian, if you would keep your headset on there real quick, just to elaborate from the judge's mouth.
Thumbs down.
Yeah, we're already getting the AEM virtual fan zone. They're chiming in. But how much weight is on outside zone 1? And then also, am I correct in saying where Castro did exceed the edge of the course on that last outside zone?
Yeah, on the outside zone number 3 area, we were talking in the briefing, that line's almost gone already, and we've only had a couple of, 3 runs so far. So basically, we told them get your back bumper up close to those, up close to the candlesticks that are there. If you hit them, that's going to be considered off course. If you don't, as long as you're in that area, because for them it's going to be impossible to see very quickly. And we just want them to be in that area with the back of the car nice and wide around that arc. So in terms of Castro going off course, I would say no. He was in what we had said in the briefing. Keep your back close to those candlesticks.
Keep it off the cones. All right, thank you very much. Let's move on to our next battle. We'll revisit the one more time between Castro and Pollock. Definitely got to tighten that up. So let's move on to Dai Yoshihara and Farouk Kawai. Talking to Farouk, he says, feels like he's got his car finally dialed after 4 engines popping. Now he's running 35 pounds of boost, just shy of 1,000 horsepower. Here we go. And of course, Dai Yoshihara tried and true that turn 14 turbocharged LS Super BRZ. Good initiation there from Dai Yoshihara. Oh, Farouk goes hard in the wall. Farouk slams the SGK S14. Dai Yoshihara still has to continue through the entirety of the course in order to advance. A terrible turn of events there for Farouk Kawai and his S14 effort from the Bay Area, originally from Poland, and unfortunately there you have it. Dai Yoshihara, he continues the rest of the course, but not the way you want to win, Ryan.
Yeah, that's a tough break right there for Farouk. You know, the first run out in the chase position here against a champion in Daijiro Yoshihara, and it looks like he sustained a lot of damage going into the wall. We've seen this historically over time. It is not a good sign when you go in at that rate of speed. And let's take a look and see if we can see what happens. Oh, you know what? He was really angling up there, and the back bumper got into the bank, sucked him right up. And that's pretty standard, pretty par for the course. It is so hard to come out of that. Once you're up in that section of the course, the back bumper hits it. It wants to suck the front end into the wall, and that is exactly what happened to Farouk.
Yeah, we're talking momentum going through that first inside clip, but the momentum will just suck you up in that wall and it'll just whip you right in. So unfortunately for Farouk Kawai, we'll see if he's able to fix his vehicle. I know he's he's definitely a passionate fella and excited to be here. I know him and his lady are again just wanting to campaign a vehicle here in 2020. And we'll see if Farouk can continue on and fix his vehicle. He's still inside the cockpit. You can see that front left is definitely cockeyed. See if we can get the bumper off here and see what we can do. And all right, so again, Dai Yoshihara with a major advantage here. We'll see if Farouk can get it back together. So we'll take a short break while they get this car off the track here. The title fight, already showing you the Type S title fight throwing down here at Irwindale Speedway.
Energy, human horsepower.
Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, if you spend $45 on Royal Purple products, like I just did for my oil change, Royal Purple will send you $10 back. Here's how easy it is. Head to your local O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up any combination of Royal Purple products that get you to $45. Also good at O'Reilly.com. Make sure you take your receipt, snap a photo of it, then go to RoyalPurplePromos.com and simply upload your receipt image. It's so easy. Then all you have to do is go to the mailbox and find your $10 rebate check.
Formula Drift is brought to you by Air Force, Aim High. Type S, official lighting sponsor of Formula Drift. Lights, camera, power, fun. And GT Radial, experience the performance.
And there it is. Looks like we are getting it up there on the flatbed. Farouk just staying in the cockpit. Unfortunately for him, he's got some people. We got some, basically going to pick up some solvents there, got into the marbles. See if we can get it back up there on track, Ryan.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough break, as we mentioned before the commercial, to have that happen. Obviously, he has the ability and the right to use a competition timeout. Look, from the looks of it on this side, we can't really see how much damage, but we know historically, anytime you go into that wall, it is a really tough circumstance to be in.
All right. And you can see the track worker. Here's the matchup so far. Again, we've seen Pollock and Castro. We'll go to one more time for that. And Dai Yoshihara and Farouk Kawai, which you saw Farouk going to the wall. So Dai Yoshihara will have a major advantage here. And we'll even see if Farouk, once he gets his car back in the pits, he'll call a competition timeout. That's a 5-minute allotment in order to get his vehicle back up and running. Next up, we are scheduled to see Taylor Hull and Rome Charpentier here, and that should be a fairly equally matched battle. Two very hungry, ferocious drivers. Just a few years competing for them, and Rome obviously being a FD Rookie of the Year. So while we have a moment here, I want to thank a few of our sponsors as we are here in the NOS Energy Drink Top 32. NOS Energy Drink, the official energy drink of Formula Drift. Let's take a look at the top 5 moments from round 6 in Texas, as we saw Chris Forsberg get the win there, but some standout moments. Ryan, I'm trying to recall exactly what happened, but let's take a look at top 5 moments here in Texas.
Yeah, there was quite a few actually, and let's see what we got here.
Nice job there as Aaron zipped past that front clip. Chelsea Denofa giving him a little bit of an inch here. It's taken a mile as Naren, look at that, comes into that third outside zone. And Naren showing up in grand fashion. Denofa, our winner from round 2 in St. Louis. Initiates in that first outer zone. Past that front clip. You see a little bit of wavering there from Dean Carney. Now coming to that third outside zone. There goes Ryan Turk. Oh, and look at that, leaves him in the smoke. And Ryan Turk, you saw him surge up. Keen get all the way to the outside zone. Ryan, the finish line. Here we go. Matt Field out front. Brings it all the way into that first outside zone. Small little correction there from Vaughn to bring it around that front clip. Oh, look at this. Matt Field, Vaughn Jr. falling back a little bit here. Now coming to that third outside zone and into the final outside zone. Great shot there. Ryan is that. So we'll see it fun. Takes him to the top. Here we go. LZ leading, Forsberg giving chase into that first front clip. Transitioning around. Both of them really wrapping around tightly around that front clip. Now into the sweeper, into that third outside zone. You see LZ turn on the smoke machine. A little wavering there by LZ. Pouring some more angle on it. And Forsberg chasing him down across Forsberg. Initiating into that first outer zone. Now past that front clip. Through that power alley, a little correction there for Vaughn Gittin Jr. And Chris Forsberg comes out of the smoke. Right there on the door, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Through the sweeper goes Vaughn and Chris. Massive angle from both the drivers. Well done by Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Chris Forsberg.
Yep.
Yeah, so there we go. Man, Farouk's vehicle unfortunately has seen better days. We'll see if we can get that car back. Again, I had some words with him right before the drivers meeting. He said, feeling good, just shy of 1,000 horsepower, around 35 pounds of boost, but a wall doesn't care how much horsepower you got. It's going to eat you up. So yeah, the wall, I'm going to go on a limb and say here, that is not going to be the first vehicle that that has contact with the infamous Irwindale Speedway wall.
And we've got a 17-year history of that, right? And a lot of it has actually happened really deep into competition when, you know, there's been championships on the line, top 5s on the line. It's such an interesting dynamic because not only does this track have such a really great drifting history, we, in the past few years, I'd say in the past 5 years, it's literally been like the last couple battles that have decided championships. And, you know, we've seen the 3-year James Dean era come to an end this year. We'll see, you know, what happens in the future. This has been an opportunity in this really unique situation to find out who's going to step up to the plate this year. And we've seen, besides Vaughn getting those 2 wins, it's been a diversity of drivers, and all those guys are in the top 5 right now. It's a big opportunity here. I know that Frederick Osbo and his team have a brand new turbo setup for this event. Watching some of his practice runs, it did remind me a lot of his win, the way he was driving in St. Louis. And if he can resurrect that, he's got himself in a good opportunity because we didn't really see him back that up after St. Louis. Made a couple of mistakes that we typically don't see from Osbo. Remember the Matt Field situation in round number 2 and went out early in Texas. But, you know, this is it. This is the last 2 events of the year for these guys, one today and one on Sunday, to find out who's going to be the 2020 champion.
Yeah, leave it all on the track here, at least till Sunday night, because you're going to have a whole silly season here to plan for your 2021 FD Championship, and that is TBD as far as what that looks like for a new year.
Yeah, and you know, crossing fingers and hoping for the best, but it's going to take some incredible planning. And this is what we kind of just referred to, Jared, here. You can see we had a strong start from Odi Bakshis. He hasn't really had that championship level season that we've seen in the past where, like, is this the year for him? After round 1 and 2, I thought it definitely could be it. But Frederick Osbo, Chelsea Denofa, Chris Forsberg, Ryan Turk, and Vaughn Gittin Jr. have won all of the events this year. And that is why, you know, those guys are in the top 5 right now. Look at the point differential between Gittin and Turk. I mean, it is neck to neck there. And with 100 points on the line today and 100 points on the line on Sunday, anybody that's within 100 points, top 5 guys, can really fight for the championship and add their name once again, or brand new in the case of Ryan Turk, to that list.
Yeah, that's a great point, and obviously Chelsea would love to jump up in there. But look at these iconic names, from Sam to Reese to Tanner, of course Chris when he won in 09, Vaughn in 10, Dio Shihara in 11, Daigo Saito, the Daigo effect, Essa in 13, Forsberg goes 14 and 16 with Osbo there in the middle, and of course it's been all James the Machine Dean 17 through 19. But Vaughn is the leader as we get things started. Let's learn some more about Vaughn Gittin Jr.
I drift because it forces me to give everything that I am and everything that I have on a mental and physical level, as well as it is the most unbelievable fun anyone could imagine. I'm Vaughn Gittin Jr. I'm from the beautiful state of Maryland. I've been drifting for 17 years, and I'm the driver of the Monster Energy Ford Performance Mustang RTR. You know, I look back at when I actually started drifting. I believe it to be when I was 4 years old, and I had a little yard cart, a little go-kart, and I had a paddle brake, and I used to get this thing up to speed and pull the paddle brake. I just loved that feeling of sliding, and my entire life, I just loved cars. My dad was a used car salesman, always had really cool cars. You know, fast forward through my teenage years, skateboarding, BMX, racing motocross, and just loving, you know, challenges and adrenaline. And when I was 18 years old, I got my first rear-wheel drive car, and I used to just go to the industrial parks and parking lots before drifting was the thing, slide around and have some fun. And then I saw a video online of drifting in Japan, and I just fell in love with this motorsport where you can show your style, your personality from behind the wheel of awesome cars. And right around that time, drifting was coming to the US from Japan. There was organized events. I went to my first organized event, realized that all these things I had done leading up to this in life made me have some pretty decent skill. And I fell in love with the culture, the community, the ability to show your style and personality and just have fun. And that was all she wrote. I've worked extremely hard to get to where I am at this point, and I don't often, you know, look back at where it started for me. You know, I'm so focused on what's going on now and what we're doing in the future, but, you know, sit back here and be in Formula Drift after competing here since day one and showing up to the track, seeing our rig, you know, the 2 cars that I own, a second driver, a team of 15 people, a full activation area. I mean, this has grown massive. You know, I'm traveling all over the world doing 30 events a year. Launched the RTR Vehicles company out of a dream and out of passion, and you know, it's really been an incredible journey that's nowhere near over yet. But it's really wild to think that through hard work, passion, and commitment, that these things truly are possible. You know, you hear people say this all the time: work hard, chase your dreams. You know, you hear this. This is a motto that people say, but like, to sit back and realize that like these opportunities exist and that I've been able to achieve these goals and passions through that hard work, it really feels good. And not only for me, but when I look at, you know, I have 25 team members, that this passion not only fuels, you know, what I want to do and my passion, but is also now supporting families and putting smiles on faces of the people that we perform in front of and compete in front of all over the world. Like, it doesn't get any better. Like, I have truly realized that for me, like, I'm built for this. This is my purpose. You know, I always say my purpose is, you know, I'm a professional fun haver, and my purpose is to put
So there it is. Dai Yoshihara gets the bye run. Unfortunately, Farouk just says, you know what, I'm just going to pack it up. Hopefully he can get his car back together for tomorrow. But before we see our next run here with Justin Pollock and Castro, let's throw down to Lorette Nickel, who's with Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Jared, thank you so much. We were just watching a special on you, and you were talking about that passion about the sport. And one of the things that I really appreciate is your candor. And you told me that you're struggling a little bit with outside zone 1. What's the mental block there?
Yeah, it was last night. You know, I'm always a late bloomer here at Irwindale the last couple of years, getting just those last couple inches up on the bank. And I figured it out today in practice. But last night I went home and was kicking myself in the butt, like, what are you doing, Vaughn? And just went back, visualized, slept on it, and came back today ready to rock. And, you know, I don't know what it is. It's, you know, this track it's such a fine line to, you know, it's easy to run the bank and it's easy to be a couple feet off the wall. It's just those next couple inches. And there's a ton of rubber like 3 feet down that keeps the car locked down. And it's just a matter of getting up over that and staying over it. And that makes a spectacular run versus just a good run. So that's obviously what we're here to try to do. And yeah, I'm feeling pumped, ready to take on the rest of the night.
Okay, Vaughn, thank you so much. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Lorette. Good luck to you. Vaughn Gittin Jr. with that bye run makes quick work of 32. Let's move on to our next battle, revisiting the one more time between Justin Pollock, JTP, and Jonathan Castro on the line. Are they going to clean it up? Remember, Lantain said, hey, no handbrake, no left foot brake, no slowing down past that front clip. He did do that. Castro, he could get a little tidier and a little higher on that first outside zone. That still eludes Vaughn Gittin Jr., as I just mentioned. Here we go. JTP initiates into that bank. You can see Castro get in proximity, gets tighter to him, and there you go. JTP, look how high and long he is up on that bank, making it difficult for Castro, but then he lunges back forward into that second outside zone. You can see Pollock getting all the way out to the outside zone, both of them on that front clip. Now see how they handle this last. Oh, there's the JTP flick that we know and love. It looks like he does get it dialed. Sometimes it ends up biting him, but it seemed like precision driving right there for JTP.
Well, I think both drivers definitely made some improvements. Justin, in particular, on his lead run. Remember, Ryan Lantain said he was really bothered by the fact that he angled up at inside clip number 1 and slowed down. Now this time he's nice and high on the bank, nearly rubbing it. Big angle coming off the bank, but keeping momentum. And you could see that Castro drops down. Now this time Pollock is accelerating through inside clip number 1. The flow there from inside clip 1 to outside zone 2 was much better from him. Now he's not completely deep in that zone, and Castro is able to take advantage of that by gaining proximity and hitting inside clip number 2. Now on the transition here, coming into inside clip number 2, you'll see both drivers are pretty close together here. It's going to be that JTP flick back around that you talked about, and he catches it perfectly. Notice he's still on throttle. The wheels are spinning at a high rate, and he gets right to the edge of the line there. Now, great job by Castro to stay in the pocket as well, and that's why I say that both drivers did make some improvements.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we've seen that, again, we were talking about that flick where it looks more violent and it gets disrupted. That flick that I know Justin loves to do, but that was probably one of the cleanest and most uninterrupted, actually, transitions that he likes to do so aggressively.
Yeah, sometimes it can go awry like in Seattle, right?
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Jonathan Castro will lead JTP, Justin Pollock. Oh, no. Oh, maybe Pollock's. Oh, look at this. Might be strategy here. Give himself some room. Don't know if it's going to pay off. We see him gaining some ground now. Castro high on the bank. Talking about those improvements. Here we go. The Jardot Methodom. 86. And there it is. Oh, get to the wall. Taps it. He taps it. He backs it in. The backup sensors were beeping full torque there. Now come that last outside. Oh, and Pollock goes off course, Ryan. Cones were hit by Pollock. And unfortunately, that flick, Ryan, where he got the clean air, it worked out for him. But let's take a look at it again. Was Castro at fault? Did Justin make a mistake under his own accord?
Well, remember, you started off your run call saying, what's Justin doing? Is he playing strategy here? And once he got into it, though, look at, he has lower angle and he's on a way weaker line. And then right there, he almost straightens out. Now, Castro's got a full plume of smoke, so he's driving pretty quick here. He's decelling in the right areas. He made a little bit of an adjustment there on outside zone 2, but outside of that, he's looking pretty solid. Now, this is where we're going to get into a situation of consequence. Right there is a decel zone. Pollock is coming up and goes off course. Now, at first pass, it just does look like that Pollock was coming up a bit too aggressively, but let's take a look at the drone. And that decel zone, is right there before outside zone number 3. So we do expect Castro to make an adjustment there. And remember, Jared, we were talking about, he nearly went into the wall there as well.
Yeah, he tapped and stayed in it, though.
Right here, right there is where we expect the decel to happen. Now, that's from telemetry data that we've taken from the vehicle. So I think, at least at first pass, Justin just made a mistake.
I mean, even at third pass, it does look like that. And just, again, that the truth, the lie detector test, if I may. So slide him left for Pollock or right for Castro. And there we go. Chris Ewell says Castro, as does Lontaine. And Brian Eggert says it is Jonathan Castro getting the win. Lontaine, going over to you. Really good job. I think both the drivers progressed on their one more time battle. Liked it up front, but it didn't pay off for them in that second run. Let's get you turned on there, bud. All right. And I don't know. Are you there yet? Knock knock.
How about now?
Knock knock. Lontaine's there.
I just want to point out that JTP still had to pull the handbrake at inside clip 1. It was smaller and he didn't slow down, but still, we said don't pull the handbrake there. Don't left foot brake. Don't slow down. Don't lift off throttle. And he still had to pull the handbrake a little bit, just a little bit. So either his spotter's not telling him not to do it after listening to us, or he just feels that he has to pull it there. But it didn't matter because he ended up going off course and spinning there in the chase position, giving Castro the win.
Thank you. All right, let's move right along. Taylor Hull, Rome Charpentier in the Garagistic E36. And, of course, Taylor Hull, Comp Cams, Cadillac ATS-V. All right, let's see what we got here. Both drivers have been progressing over the years, and from Rome jumping into the Pro Championship this year. Keeping a little PMA, a little positive mental attitude there from Rome. And Taylor Hull living up to the Intimidator. The livery, the gargoyles, the hat, here we go. Taylor Hull initiates into the bank. Let's see how we go. Rome handling it a little lower on the bank, but you can see Taylor full pull Hull coming all the way through. Let's see how we handle that front clip. Quick little snap and cross through into that second outside zone. Diving deep are those Cadillac taillights. Past that front clip and now into that final outside zone. Remember, that white line is definitely disappearing. Just don't hit the cones. Don't hit the candlestick cones. Just keep it where the rubber meets the road and don't hit any orange.
We've seen a lot of incredible driving this year, especially in a compressed schedule. And one of those standout drivers for me has been Taylor Hull. He just looked like he stepped up a couple levels this year, and it's been consistent. That's the thing. It hasn't been a one-off. Now, he gets a good jump here against Rome, and you can see that separation coming off of the bank into inside clip number 1. We saw a little bit of reduction in angle there from Rome Charpentier. You can see the consistency from Taylor. Good transition back around. Now, Rome dives in here. I give him credit for taking that aggressive approach, trying to gain some proximity. You can see he had to make a little bit of a adjustment. And this final exchange here one more time. See Rome right here losing that angle coming up on the inner bank. He's not really able to get as deep as Taylor Hull is in that second outside zone, which is a really important section to time appropriately. But he does come back, try to dive in here to gain proximity. But he's obviously going to get a report now from his spotter to say, hey, this is what you need to do in your lead run to better Taylor Hull.
Yep. All right, so Rome will now lead. Taylor Hull will give chase. Second run of this battle. Yeah, Ryan, I definitely concur as far as Taylor Hull's progression over the years. Just seeing that vehicle from 3 years to where it's at now, definitely leaps and bounds. All right, looks like Taylor kicks back for just a moment, and Rome fires him up. Initiates into that big bank. Taylor Hull working it high. Keeping a safe distance here, but would like to see him a little bit closer past that first front clip into the second outside zone in that inside bank. Now Rome digging deep, second front clip, and Taylor Hull overshoots it quite a bit, giving Rome a bit of an advantage here. Now shallows him up on that last outside zone, Ryan.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake there from Taylor. He kept the pressure on in a pretty strong way up until that point. Let's see how the rest of the run kind of came together for these two competitors with Rome out front. Nice early initiation for him. Mid to high line on the bank. Now he starts working his way up. You can see Taylor smartly gets right next to him, tries to stay on that same line. Rome is doing a great job out front here. He's keeping the throttle on through inside clip 1, and at least the momentum. And Taylor's on a little bit of a lower line here in the chase position. But once he makes those mistakes, he quickly adjusts and then gets back on the line here. But Rome is giving a really great lead run here for the judges to take a look at. And this is where Taylor goes a little bit wide, pushing from inside clip number 2. Final section here. You can see that where he got positioned from inside clip 2, put him on a tighter line, and he's left playing catch up there against Rome.
Yeah, that really threw him off around that front clip. And you could see he totally missed all of that last outside zone. Getting the drone's eye view. You can see Larry Chen over there. Larry shooting some photos. All right, looks like we're going to get a little side-by-side instant replay here. Rome and Taylor. And let's take a look at here again. Taylor leading on the left, Rome leading on the right.
You can see Rome keeps that pressure on early in the chase position. Taylor gave him a good lead run. So these lead runs right here, at least, they look pretty similar up until this point. Rome gets pretty deep into outside zone 2, so does Taylor. Now Taylor has that little bit of an adjustment that pushes him wide, and that's where we see some difference. Now Rome was on a tighter line. He did gain proximity there, but he lost a little bit of angle. So, you know, a good back and forth battle here between both guys, and really interested to see how the judges are going to go on this one.
All right, let's see if we got a verdict here. Waiting for the judges. See if they go one more time. Do you think we have a winner here, Ryan? Or do you think we're going to go one more time?
What do they think?
Yeah, what are the fans think at home? 8 a.m.
One more time.
Oh, the fans are saying one more time. Look at that. All right, slide of left for Taylor Hole, right for Rome. Let's see what we got.
Can I work at home and get on the AEM drift zone?
Yeah, I'm down. I'm with it. Here we go. Slide him left for Taylor, right for Rome. One more time there from Chris Ewell. And then, oh, there it is. One more time. So you guys at the AM virtual zone dropping in and calling it like you see him, an OMT. Lantier, going to you. One more time. What's up?
Testing.
You're good. You're there.
Yeah, they made similar lead runs, I think. They got up high on outside zone 1. Not all the way up, but, you know, filled it pretty well. Same kind of line on outside zone 2. Rome did make a couple of compromises in the chase, and Taylor made a couple of compromises in the chase as well. So nobody really outshone the other drivers, so I'd really like to see them go one more time. And I need somebody to really wow us up here and prove that they deserve to move on.
Right on. Thank you.
Look at this,
sir.
Jared. This is, if you haven't been watching some of the runs that snuck through in practice, this is Adam LZ, as we talked about in the backup car, brought to you by Odi Bakshis.
Yeah, this is Odi's 2019 competition vehicle. So you can see, you might see some other liveries behind there, but using some vinyl. So he went from a right-hand drive 2JS15 now to a left-hand drive. And he says he's feeling really comfortable in it. Loretta asked him, how do you get better? He says, practice, question mark. You know, so here's Adam LZ, his spy run. Take a listen. Looks like he's having a good time. He's definitely getting sideways, working that outside zone, looking very comfortable. But, you know, when push comes to shove, Adam LZ will be going against, get this, so Adam LZ advances in 16. Guess who he goes against in 16? Either Odi or Dan Burkett. So Odi versus Odi. Yo, dog, I heard you like Odi. That's why I put Odi in your Odi.
I mean, it's worth saying, and here's Odi right here on the line now, but when we've seen two drivers have to go to backup vehicles, Adam definitely, I think, has the more competition-ready vehicle compared to Chris. I know that Chris's car looks a lot like his regular competition Z, but it is not built in the same way at all.
Yeah, it's more of a party car.
You could tell by the way Chris was expressing himself in his tone. He said, I have one hand tied behind my back. And, you know, that's a tough position to be in, to lose a motor, not have the backup that you need, and then really this to be your only choice for competition.
Well, there's Odi. We just talked about it, and now he's going to throw a throwdown against Dan Burkett. These guys have driven with each other at fun events such as like Adams and stuff like that. So here we are in the NOS Energy Drink Top 32. Here are the numbers. You can see both of them fairly equally matched. So about 1,000 horsepower from both of them. And of course, Rad Dan with his signature Toyota Supra. And Odi Bakshis now just progressing with that. Remember a few years ago, it was like, you know, the horsepower battle. Odi was kind of like laughing at it, you know, and then now here he is. Everybody on average about 900 horsepower.
Yeah, suspension engineering, tuning, all that kind of stuff, that he is a master at that, getting the most out of the vehicle.
Here we go, Odi Bakshis. Oh, look at this, what's going on? Oh, and now
Restart?
Odi, is it a restart? Making sure that we got a clean start.
Let's cross our fingers. Hopefully he doesn't need his backup car.
That's what I'm saying. He's like, oh no. But once he turned wheels in this vehicle, he has to commit to this vehicle.
For this round, yeah.
For this round.
Yeah.
He could ask for the keys back for maybe round 8, but not, unfortunately for Odi, not a contender in the championship. If crazy things happen, and they usually do here at Irwindale, could maybe get a top 3, but just seeing, you know, you can only tell the future by looking at the past and seeing what the contenders, the top 5, top 6 drivers have done. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, one of the interesting things that I've noticed with this setup and not having qualifying is that you will get matchups that you sometimes don't always see in a traditional qualifying type setup, because usually where qualifying is a merit-based system, and usually, you know, what you want to have is the best 2 guys at that event in the finals. And in this kind of scenario, you have some randomness built in there, so you will see times where Odi's going to go up against Vaughn Ginn Jr. in the top 16, and you know, you're going to have somebody that's fighting for the championship go out in the top 16. We know to fight for a championship, you pretty much got to have grade 8s or better throughout the season, and that's a really, really difficult thing to do.
And again, we've seen, you know, Forsberg with his championship, what is that, 5 years ago or so, when he won he won the championship without ever winning an event. So it is doable, but you definitely need to show up consistently. Here we go, Brad Dan initiating. So Odi Bakshis really having some struggling moments. Oh, and Brad Dan, look at that, scraping that signature Supra wing. Let's go past that front clip. Neither of them slowing down. Brad Dan throws it back in. Now, Dan's got that clean air, and Odi, definitely a phenomenal chase driver, but unfortunately, we got some more fire there, back right there of Dan Burkett. You can see it, look at this. Woo, little flambe Supra action. Oh, man. And is he still on? Got some tire fire, one-wheeler peeler here. Let's spray that thing out. As you can see, Rad Dan Burkett. Looks like we're going to get that thing out, and that's what happened to Chris Forsberg there. It's happened to him here at Irwindale as well, but Dan Burkett, let's see what's going on here. And Odi quickly, you know, unfortunately for him, just right after when looks like Dan Burkett jumping out of his vehicle, seeing what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't know if we were clear enough on this, but obviously they switched positions, so Odi, you know, is going to have an incomplete on that first run.
Yeah, and he quickly just owned it, just pulled right back up and says, dang it.
And what I'm hearing from Pat, who's running race control up here, is that some kind of mechanical, I mean, and then that seems obvious, but it wasn't enough to deter him from a really aggressive chase run. So you really are curious about what happened there to cause that problem. Now, Dan Burkett, in his lead run, looks pretty good here. He's going to get an awesome opportunity to make his way into the top 16, because Odi Bakshis would need to have Dan Burkett get a 0 on this run to force at least the possibility of it one more time. And there's that fire that you talked about, Jared, which we've seen now in 2 events back-to-back from different drivers. So becoming a trend these days.
Yeah, absolutely blazing, burning it down.
Wow.
If 2020 was a tire. Right? Oh, man. All right, so you're going to have to assume that, unfortunately for Odi Bakshis, he is knocked out. But you know who's stoked? Dan Burkett. Dan Burkett will get the win unanimously. Rad Dan will go against another Odi, but not Odi, the actual driver, but a vehicle of Odi Bakshis and his team. So Dan Burkett will be going against Adam LZ in the top 16.
Yeah, tough break there, and he'll have a lot to think about, as these guys that don't get the results that they want here today are going to have to stew on that for, you know, more than 24 hours as they wait until Sunday, as we'll see the Pro 2 guys come in tomorrow and find out who's going to be the Pro 2 champion. In the meantime, a guy fighting for the championship here that is trying to come on strong at Irwindale is Frederick Osbo. Had that great start to the season, Jared, with the win in round 1. The Supra made all kinds of waves in the media, but it hasn't really lived up to the Frederick Osbo-esque, I'm always in the #1 position for, you know, the subsequent rest of the season. And It's been some driver mistakes, and then they had that bad situation, the mechanical in Seattle that caused them to go out, the intake manifold. Now, we understand that the car does have some setup changes for this round, and like I mentioned in the opening, watching some of Osbo's practice runs, it looks like standard high level, you know, I'm going up against a championship against James Dean type driving. So hopefully that's what we and the fans will get here this weekend.
And you got to think, you know, Alec Robbins, here he is, come from Minnesota, again, misses Texas. He was fighting for that, you know, Rookie of the Year title, but unfortunately tested positive for COVID, had to stay home, and rightfully so. We appreciate him and his wife and his team for doing that. And now here he is. All right, you're going to go against a former champ and a brand new car. And, you know, talking about Osbo, and you say Osbo-esque, but it's more Papadakis. And the conversation that you traditionally hear from Stefan is, we're still in development. This is our first year. So they're constantly, you know, that 3D printed manifold that you know, got compromised, that was the only one of its kind in the world. So you got to think that just development, the progressing. So a lot of the other drivers should be nervous about not only here this weekend, but also 2021. That Supra, what it could do.
Look, to get a top 5 on a brand new chassis in year 1 is a goal within itself. For him to be fighting for a championship, that's a whole other level.
Here we go, the Rockstar Energing Toyota GR Supra, high on the bank. Alex Robbins keeps the distance. Robbins gets into the wall, but he keeps it off of it. Almost got eaten up by the big Irwindale monster. Now throwing it into that second outside. So look at Robbins jump up, slams into the wall. I told you, Robbins is hungry. You got to think taking that weekend off, but he overshoots it. He's going against one of the best in the biz. 3-wheel motion there from Osbo. Gets all the way out, does not hit the cones, but powers through. Look at that horsepower that Robbins has on deck. You saw him just jump up in that second outside zone.
Yeah, pushing really hard here, and it's worth noting that, you know, COVID basically ruined Robbins' chances at Rookie of the Year, and he was definitely in the mix for that. So he's fighting hard here against Frederick Osbo, who's starting off with a great lead run. We see Osbo lay down these incredible lead runs the first time around. Robbins almost goes into the wall, makes an adjustment with the front wheels there. Osbo coming into inside clip number 2. Beautiful there as Robbins shoots a little bit wide. And you can see that aggressive driving is paying off for him in certain places, but in others, it's causing quite a difference as you look at the comparison to where Osbo is on the course compared to Robbins. Here it is from above. You can see both drivers coming off. Nice transition there to inside clip 1, but Osbo really looking strong, coming off the bank in the right place to hit this inside clip. And Robbins with this aggressive driving, looking for opportunities to take position and try to gain proximity, but just not able to close the door on that very quick and fast Supra of Frederick Osbo.
Yeah. I mean, you can see the intake manifold supercharged. You know, the Facetto 350Z there of Robbins, and Robbins has been banging away in Pro-Ams and then Pro 2, and then here he is in Pro. Definitely, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got here against Osbo. He's going to get clean air. Let's see if Freddie can show up. And there's the back end of Dan Burkett's vehicle, that back right. That's the one that caught fire. Hopefully everything's okay. And away they go. Robbins out front. You saw how much power he's got. Osbo turning it up into the big Irwindale bank. Look at the angle there from Robbins. Takes a little bit out of it. Some wavering there. But Osbo keeps the composure past that front clip. Both of them still on throttle into that second outside zone. Looks like Robbins goes towards that outside wall. Osbo keeping it consistent. Nothing too aggressive here. It doesn't seem like he's sinking his claws into him, but just keeping it, again, with these guys having, you know, with Robbins being a rookie and Osbo being just a veteran of the sport and a former champion, got to take some calculated risks, I think is the term.
Yeah, Osbo had the proximity and had the duration, which is definitely something that you want to see. It's not that he didn't make some mistakes either. You can see Robbins had a little bit of adjustment in angle there. Watches Osbo in the chase position come through the smoke line, trying to eye up this opportunity where he can keep the pressure on Robbins coming through inside clip number 1. Osbo takes the line that Robbins has. He follows him here. But look, he's going to be down a little bit there. Loses a little bit of angle. Has a slight little adjustment there where he almost loses too much angle. And you don't want to see that in that section of the course. And then Robbins goes off course there by about 2 wheels as we take one more look at it. Here it is from inside clip 1. This is where Osbo gets a little hung up there. You can see he loses some angle. But the proximity and the duration of it, I think, was better overall than Robbins. It's just going to be a matter of these mistakes that the judges are going to be weighing against each other. As you can see, that smoke line building up there with Alec Robbins in the lead.
All right, there you can see the supercharger spinning round as Robbins would love to take down this former champ. Isn't enough? Yep. Yep. All right, and here it is. Osbo and Robbins. Slide them left for Osbo, right for Robbins. And there it is. Frederick Osbo gets the win. Osbo will advance on into the top 16. Hey, what's up? AEM Virtual Fan Zone tuning in. How are we doing? We got Alex Pedersen. I'm trying to read these names.
Who's
there.
that Payco guy?
Payco. Payco. What's up? Payco's down here calling in. Santo Paco. I got Baby Yoda holding the filter. I'm cool with that one. This is the way. What's up? Chris in the building. Oh, cranking some brews and hanging out. Solid. Javier, how we doing, man? Thanks for joining us. All right. Go back to the one more time of Taylor Hull and Rome. Sharpened tier. You can see Taylor Hull already on the start line. Burnout box being warmed up. We have a 30-second burnout clock. It's kind of like a pitching clock. It can only take so much time. Warm up, pull a line. Taylor Hull will lead on the one more time battle here of Taylor and Rome. And the winner of this battle will be going against Daijiro Yoshihara. So already in the top 16, we obviously know Von Gittin Jr. will be going against Castro. Dai Yoshihara against the winner here. We got Adam LZ versus Dan Burkett. And then we got Osbo versus, we'll find out in just a moment. Here we go. Taylor Hull out front. Rome in the chase position. Taylor initiates. Look at Rome. A lot of speed being carried into the side, but you can see him some wavering. Now coming down, let's see how they handle that front clip. See if they learn something off of their first battle. Quickly getting to that second outside zone is Taylor Hull. Big angle from Hull. Look at that, barely see the back end of that Cadillac. Now Rome and that BMW taking a shallower line. You saw Ryan, that transition, you saw him. I didn't know if he was going to actually get all the way out there. That looked something similar that we saw earlier.
Yeah, Taylor did it about as good as you can do in the lead roll position there. He was nice and high on the big bank, didn't have too many major mistakes and very few minor ones. Now you can see Rome charges up forward really quickly. He catches himself, has to pull a little bit of angle out of the car. Look at how high Taylor leaves the bank while staying on throttle through inside clip one. Now that's the kind of transition I think the judges really want to see. Quick through inside clip one, then set up through the decel zone, get into outside zone two. Taylor Hull does just that. Rome keeping the pressure on here, but again, he comes up on that inside line, tries to gain proximity here. He's able to pull back for a second and get closer to the line that Taylor was on. But in the chase position, making a couple little mistakes. So he's got to come back strong here in his lead run, use the advice from his spotter to try and better the lead run that Taylor Hull had, which is going to be a tall order. Taylor did a great job here, but Taylor also has a job of his own in the chase, and that's to keep the pressure on.
And here we go, the second half of this battle, run two of the one more time battle of Rome and Taylor. And Rome watching his social media there, showing the transition. Let's see how he handles it now. When it really counts. Good angle from Rome. Taylor, look at that, getting really close is Taylor Hull. Good transition from both the drivers. Again, you got that small decel zone into that outside second zone. Now approaching that front clip, tight and right, about the second hash mark. Now again, flirting with the edge of the course. They say they can go beyond that line a little bit because it's disappearing. Just don't hit the candlesticks.
Well, second half of the battle is over now with Rome in the lead. Let's take a look and see how both drivers did here and whether or not it's going to be Rome or Taylor moving on into the top 16. Hull doing a good job getting close on the big bank. Now, this is going to be really viewed well in the eyes of the judges. Kept the pressure on with proximity on the big bank. Backed off for a second to inside clip one, and then puts the pressure back on again. Now, this is being allowed because Rome is also putting down a solid lead run. And this back and forth battle here, who was the more consistent of these two drivers in the lead and the chase position? Was it Taylor Hull or was it Rome Charpentier? Here's another shot of it on the second bank coming into inside clip number 2. You can see Rome going a little bit wide there, Jared. And then in the chase position, Taylor cutting it a little bit tight.
Oh boy, this is flirting. This is flirting with an advancement or one more time. I mean, this is a tough one. Again, two very, I thought it was going to be equally matched, and they definitely delivered. Here we go, slide him left for Taylor Hull, right for Rome, and Chris says Taylor Hull, as does Ryan Lontaine, and it looks like Taylor Hull unanimously gets the win. So full pull Hull will be going against Daijiro Yoshihara. You guys agree with that back there at home?
Is that a thumbs up or thumbs down?
All right, we're seeing Alexander. Is it Alexander Duong? He's watching. Thanks.
Okay, got some thumbs up. All right, judges, you guys are doing a good job right now.
All right. So far. Oh, we are hearing that Ken Gushi, Ryan, he is out.
Oh, man.
Man, the Rowdy Energy Toyota GR Supra, the veteran, the OG, suffering a mechanical, and he is out here round 7. Hopefully he could put it back together, but Dean Carney will get the fast pass in that Oracle Lighting Achilles tire Dodge Viper operated by ArcLight Racing, ArcLight Fab. So unfortunately for Goosh, man, such a bummer.
And remember, the last win that he had was here a year ago, or a little bit more than a year ago, because it was in October. Very emotional win last year to finish off the season. And unfortunately, if he does get back on the podium, it's not going to be until Sunday. He is out of competition.
We'll have to find out what happened to him and his team. That's quite a bummer. All right, so lay out, listen. We got this turbocharged Dodge Viper, Dean Carney. Lights extinguish, and we'll send it. Whoa, massive angle there, Ryan. He was risking it there. So I think it's a good opportunity for him to just see what he did. See how his setup is here at Irwindale. A lot of rubber being laid down. Ryan, you know, we've seen this track just transform over the years, not only just the track layout, but from, you know, it was mid-70s today. It was, you know, the sun was kind of baking the rubber, but then when that sun goes down, it can get cold real quick and it could change the surface.
Yeah, the drivers are really particular about wanting to have their practice sessions kind of mirror as much as possible the competition conditions, and so that's kind of how we set up Thursday practice. Give them a little bit of time in these kind of conditions and then a little bit more time at nighttime, because that is when the top 16 is going to be taking place. And not only are the track conditions are going to change, you're going to see a whole batch of new lighting aesthetics that are new for this year.
That's what's up. It is the Type S title fight here, and it's a triple header weekend because today we are halfway through. We are officially halfway through top 32, and of course we got round 4 of the Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship. The final round, we'll find out who our Pro 2 champion is tomorrow night. But you can see Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s in, Jonathan Castro, Dai Yoshihara versus Taylor Hull, Adam LZ versus Dan Burkett, and then we got Freddie. We got Frederick Osbo versus Dean Carney. So officially halfway through our top 32, and we'll be seeing next stop Chris the Force Forsberg with his bye run. So he's should be pulling up the line. You are watching the Type S title fight here, round 7 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. When we come back, we'll continue on with top 32 action.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. Brid.
What is power and control? Power is the sprint. Control is the hurdle. Power is the flame. Control is the perfect steak. Power is turbulence. Control is containment. Power is the ignition. Control is the sensor. NGK and NTK. Power under control.
We're here for the perfectionists, the champions of doing things right. Whether they're in the shop or in the driveway, they trust O'Reilly Auto Parts, because good enough won't cut it here. For over 50 years, we've been helping perfectionists get exactly what they want and exactly what they need without compromise, turning that problem into a problem solved. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
The Falcon Azenis FK510 tire is engineered for today's high-performance vehicles. Built with added tread rigidity for precise handling and an advanced rubber compound that inspires confidence, rain or shine. Get more out of your sports coupe or sedan with the Azenis FK510.
Oh, man, there we go. So Forsberg on the line, and he will be taking his bye run. The sun is setting. What time does the sun set right now, Ryan? Do you know? 5:15. So we got a few hours here, but just a hazy day out here in Irwindale. Sometimes it could be hot, sometimes it could be cold, but that's traditionally in October. Here we are, like you said, about a month after normally when we're here celebrating a championship.
Yeah, it is definitely different. You know, I mean, we're very grateful that we didn't get into any rain, because that can happen obviously this time of the year.
You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth, Ryan. Don't even say that word.
Yeah, well, you know, every time I say something can't happen, it happens. So
Exactly. All right, well, again, this is Forsberg. It might look like his comp car. It was intended to be that way. This is his party car. He's driven at Grid Life. He's driven at just at a lot of different events, but this is not his competition car. If you're just tuning in, Chris the Force Forsberg, who is in contention for the championship, sitting in third place, coming to this round, has popped his VR-powered 370Z, the GTR engine vehicle. He crossed the finish line. He's got a bye, moves into 16, but before we move on to our next battle, let's throw it down to you. Lorette, what's up?
Hey, thank you so much. Ken Gucci unfortunately missed your competition. What happened? I'm hearing there was a blown seal.
Yeah, so we had a rear main seal back out on our second lap of practice, well, before the lap even started, and my team, you know, they scrambled to get it back together. The second seal that went on, it continued to leak, so we had to kind of throw in the white towel before we risk ourselves on track, you know, potentially throwing oil all over the track and possibly even putting Dean into the wall. So we kind of wanted to avoid that. We have another round of competition on Sunday, the finals. And if we can repeat our success from last year where we took the win, that'd be great. So we just want to make sure that we have a car in one piece for this round and come back swinging on Sunday.
And Ken, I know this has been a really challenging year for you, but you have such a positive outlook. What do you attribute that to?
I mean, what can you say? It's been a pretty crazy, hectic year, but props to the entire Formula Drift staff for even salvaging what could have been, you know, a no season this year. So it's just, you know, grateful to be out here. We do miss the fans, though. It is kind of eerie and awkward not seeing a grandstand filled with loud fans, but, you know, just trying to stay positive throughout a very challenging year and trying to make the most out of what we have and learn from everything we can.
Ken, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Guys.
All right, there we can see a couple BMWs, one with a 2J, one of the BMW engine. We got that of Michael Essa against Dylan Hughes. Dylan Hughes in his new livery celebrating 75 years of keeping engines clean, gum out jet spray, and regain parts cleaner. Duke Racer work for the best any job in the shop. Got that 75th anniversary gum out livery on the left. All right, the FCP Euro Achilles tire BMW. Michael Essa, Dylan Hughes throwing it almost to the side. Put the Rain-X two-face livery on the side of the FCP Euro BMW. Oh, and look at that. Dylan falls back. A little bit of issues right now. Looked aggressive, but now, unfortunately, Gremlin's showing their head. And now coming into that final outside zone. There goes Essa, riding that line, not hitting the cones. And wow, Dylan Hughes just staying out of that smoke trail.
Yeah, Hughes having that really tough situation in Texas where he didn't get off the line and forced an incomplete. Wants to come back strong here at Irwindale. Look at that, keeping the pressure on Michael Essa. Great job there, but as they leave the first outside zone coming into the inside clip, you can see that Dylan's going to back off here for a second, look for this opportunity to attack. Goes a little bit wide on the inside clip and then really loses the positioning on the course relative to Michael Essa. Now, it looked like it, at least from what I saw from that angle, Essa was carrying decent momentum from inside clip to outside zone number 2. Now Hughes is left playing catch up. He comes through the smoke line, tries to poke in here as Michael Essa rounds out this final turn, sweeping to the right and through the finish line.
All right, so right, like you said, Ryan, Dylan very aggressive. No wind here, so the smoke is definitely lingering here as Dylan Hughes will now lead at Gumout. Rain-X O'Reilly Auto Parts BMW will lead, and the FCP Euro Liqui-Moly Achilles Tire BMW Michael Essa chasing him down. Let's see what Dylan's got here out front. Clean air is all his. Michael Essa jumps to the side, dropping down. Look at that. Michael Essa really low on the bank. Past that front clip, now into this second outside zone. Quick little pull the handbrake there from Dylan Hughes. The dozer pushes his way through that front clip and now to that final out. Oh, and a cone was hit. So you got to imagine they're going to take that into account. He hit that last one hit across the finish line. But, you know, was it deep enough? I mean, even in the driver's meeting, they said treat that like a wall. So you got to imagine the deeper you are, the more damage you're going to do.
Well, this was an interesting start here because Michael Essa had an opportunity to kind of put a bit of a seal on it, and that really started kind of a downturn of events, right?
Yeah.
He had an opportunity there to kind of really put this one away because we did see a big mistake from Hughes in his chase position, but then Michael Essa makes a big one of his own on the second half of this battle. Now through this inside clip, Hughes looking pretty good in the lead here, gets on a midline and then pushes out wide to outside zone number 2. Essa's trying to close the door, stay close in proximity here to Dylan Hughes as he comes through the smoke line. Hughes, meanwhile, pushes a little bit too hard, just taps the beginning section of that final outside zone. But by that time, Essa is caught up and he's keeping the pressure on. So, Jared, both drivers making some mistakes in the chase position, and the judges will have to compare those two to see if there's a winner there or if it's a one more time because of the severity of the mistakes.
Well, Dylan would love to get one back after just let's just call it what it is, kind of a dismal Texas. So like you said, just having that trans issue going off the line, and that was unfortunately, it was a run where he started the finish, or he started to go and then just shut it down. So that did count as a run, and that was a terrible turn of events for him and his team.
Yeah, and we actually talked about that in the drivers' meeting this morning. Is that a one more time?
Yeah, what do you guys think here? What do you guys think? Javier's saying one more time. Do you guys think we have a winner? I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of one more time. That's two more times. We're just. Oh, come on. Come on, guys.
Somebody needs a whiteboard.
I know. Get a whiteboard.
Somebody get a whiteboard.
Four more times. Okay, relax. All right, guys. Just, I mean, we got to find out. I got things to do. Somebody's playing Wii bowling, by the way. Here we go, side by side. As here we go. So again, Essa leading on the left, Dylan leading on the right.
And Dylan looks strong here in the chase on the big bank, and I think that's going to count for a lot. But watch in his chase run coming down on the big bank, or on the smaller bank. He does make that mistake, and you know the judges are going to look at it comparatively. You know, did somebody have a better of the lead runs? Did somebody have the better of the chase runs? Was there a way to nudge the direction for Michael Essa or for Dylan Hughes? And it's a tough one here because those big mistakes sometimes, you know, play with you, and
Yep.
you want to make sure that you're consistent with the criteria that you've laid out in the drivers' meeting, and so this will be a tough one for the judges.
All right, well, our fans here in the AEM Virtual Fan Zone tuning in. Again, AEM Dry Flow Air Filters, track proven. Check them out at aemintakes.com. We got a one more time from Chris Yule. Ryan Lantain says one more time. So they are going at it again. And, oh, look at that. Eggert actually sided with Michael Essa, but majority rule. So OMT for these two BMWs. There we go. Somebody's getting creative. Got a pen and a piece of paper. Thank you so much. Is it Mia or Maya? All right, and then all right. Let's advance on to our next battle. Kazuya Taguchi versus, nope, he's not here. Tyler Nelson. He is a no-show here for top 32 and this weekend. So Kazuya Taguchi will get the victory here and a bye run in his Up Garage GT Radial S15. So a few bye runs here. It's got that 2F performance, got that super doof body kit on there. I should say side skirts and rear fenders. So here we go. All layout. Listen to Kazuya Taguchi and that S15. And there it is. So Kazuya Taguchi pulling all the way through, Ryan.
Yeah, and having a stellar year. He broke into the top 10 after Texas and is sitting in a nice position right now. 8th in points, just behind Justin Pollock and right in front of Daijiro Yoshihara. So having a solid season here in 2020.
Speaking of another solid season, Jeff Jones, seen him just rise to the occasion, have some fun, get that top 4 finish, and then unfortunately had some issues in Texas. So Jeff Jones, not too far from here, is where he resides. He definitely loved to step up, and this one should be fun. Jeff Jones, Ryan Literal, these guys, both from here in Southern California. Jeff from Los Angeles area, Ryan Literal from Riverside, California, and Jeff Jones will lead. Ryan Literal will give chase. And these guys have shredded before at Adams back in the day. So let's see what we got here. Jeff Jones will lead both these guys. Nissan, we got a V8 under the hoods. Here we go. Pretty fairly equally matched. Jones initiates. Both of them supercharged V8s. Nice job by Jones. Literal about midline there on the big bank. Maybe going to save some for the proximity. Oh, an early transition. That power stop breaks. Nissan 350Z of Ryan Literal. Jeff Jones continues on with that Doc 370Z. Oh, and Literal spins out, unfortunately. If Jeff Jones keeps it going, and he does, that will be a major advantage for Mr. Jones.
Yeah, and that was actually the second large mistake I think we saw from Ryan Literal. The first one was right after inside clip number 1. It looked like he straightened up for more than, a beat or two. And we have definitely seen the judges call those incomplete. So let's take a look at it here, because it will be an incomplete either way for Ryan Literal. And so that basically makes the lead run from Jeff Jones a bit inconsequential, other than that it's scored. See, right here, he loses angle and then straightens up and has to reinitiate. So whenever you have to reinitiate like that, the judges will typically call that an incomplete. But right here, as he's surging forward, looks like he just gets lost in the smoke line, loses the rear end, and is not able to pull it off. Now, at that point, Jared, you rightly pointed out, Jeff Jones does need to finish the run without making an incomplete of his own. He's able to do that, and so he'll be sitting on a pretty sizable advantage going into the second half of this battle.
Bummer for Literal. Jones feeling the flow. He's going to now chase down Ryan Literal, as looks like he lost his bumper, but no big deal for him. That power stop breaks. GT Radial, Nissan 350Z out front. Both these guys on GT Radial. Second half of this battle. The winner of this going against Kazuya Taguchi in top 16. You're joining us here at top. Oh, got a restart here. The Type S title fight. There's Ryan Turk, second in points, only 8 points behind Vaughn Gittin Jr. Getting prepared behind the wheel of that gum-out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. As Ryan Turk is the second to last battle. He'll be going against Kyle Mohan, who re-entered competition in Texas, and there are the point standings. Let's go back to the action here. Second half of this battle, we had a restart there, and Ryan Literal leaves the line. Jeff Jones chasing him down. Looks like we got a clean start, point or no return. Literal initiates. Look at, there's Jeff Jones. He's falling back quite a bit. Now Literal keeps it high. Let's see. Remember, Ryan, you said there was that major correction there. I think the smoke really messed up Literal. Coming to that second outside zone. Literal quite a bit deeper. Oh! Almost contact, but Literal saves it. And it looks like that's going to be all she wrote. And in this instance, Ryan, Jeff Jones does not need to complete the rest of the course, only for just a little unfortunate insult to injury there for Ryan Literal. Bummer for Literal, but Jones is stoked.
Yeah, I was starting to think that Jones was playing a bit of a dangerous game by giving that much of a gap and being down low on the bank to Ryan Literal. And, you know, there's a sports psychology kind of metaphor going on there where, you know, even though you have a huge advantage, for some reason you're like, don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up. Well, right here, Ryan Literal pretty much solidified the battle in the W camp for Jeff Jones by spinning out on the lead. And as you pointed out, once the lead driver incompletes in the front or spins out or something like that, the run is over at that point, and the chase driver does not need to finish the run. So this will be an easy call here for the judges, going in favor of Jeff Jones.
That's right. So Jones will continue on. Let's make it official. All right, before we move on to our next run, which is a bye run, Lorette Nickel is with second in points, Ryan Turk.
He is in his car ready to go. Ryan, how do you minimize mistakes out here?
Just try to go back to how you practiced and talk to your team. Try to stay calm, not work up the nerves too much, and go out there and just drive how you know how to drive.
How do you, in the position you're in, make sure that you keep those nerves calm?
I think about all the things that are bigger in life than just this situation. I think about my wife and my brothers, my family, all that stuff. So that usually keeps me very calm, knowing that there's so much more to life than just this moment, and it keeps me able to keep my nerves down.
Okay. I love it. Best of luck, Ryan. Jared, Ryan, back to you.
Thank you, Lorette. And yeah, that's interesting, man. Just I might have started crying there, Ryan, and rightfully so, man. So here we go. Yeah, right. So as we move on, this is going to be a bye run for Chelsea Denofa. Again, another fierce competitor here. The gold bee blinging and stinging here in the sunshine of California here, as Chelsea Denofa ready to run his bye run. He'll be going against Wataru Masayama or Matt Field in the top 16. That is our next battle. Remember, we do have the one more time between Essa and Dylan Hughes. Dylan Hughes running that 75th anniversary gum out livery on his vehicle. And right now, the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. Got those Type S lights. If you haven't seen that video, really cool video. Let's listen to number 88, Chelsea Denofa. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Here we go. Chelsea Denofa, Zero Chill Denofa. Again, the bumper budget over at RTR is, I think, just probably one of the largest. They shred those back bumpers. Okay, so Denofa advances on at 16. 4 more battles left, including the one more time of that man, as Ryan Turk pulls to the line. No pressure for Ryan Turk. You can see the other Toyota teammates hanging out up there on the wall. Castro, he is in, as is Osbo. And right now, going back to the one more time, the OMT. Essa pulls up to the line. FCP Euro, Liquimolly, Achilles Tire, BMW, Michael Essa. And this is how the bracket is being completed. And there you go. Chris Forsberg against Michael Essa, or his blackout garage homeboy, Dylan Hughes. How is that going to fare? Kazuya Taguchi versus Jeff Jones, and Chelsea Denofa waits to see who he's going against, Field or Masuyama. And then after that, Ryan Turk versus Mohan, and Jonathan Nairn versus Travis Reeder. Back to the OMT. Back at it again with the white BMWs.
Who needs to do what here in this battle?
Dylan
be a
needs
spotter.
to. Dylan
be a spotter.
Yeah, okay. Essa, run your own game. Just you know, you got to think. You got to think. Dylan Hughes. You know, he made some mistakes there. It's really going to come down to the chase. And there we go. The Ford truck, our official vehicle here of Formula Drift Irwindale, is America's best-selling full-size pickup truck for good reason. Delivers an unsurpassed combination of power, capability, and efficiency. The F-150 offers best-in-class payload and up to 13,800 pounds of available towing. thanks to its most advanced powertrain lineup ever, including a brand new 3.0 liter Power Stroke Turbo Diesel V6. Check out America's favorite truck at your local Ford dealer, the Ford F-150.
Some nice acceleration there too. Kind of got off the line pretty quick.
The brap. Yeah.
All right, back to it, spotter.
Back to it. So I think it's going to come down to the chase run. Give yourself enough distance, but I think you really need to strike. You know, the big bank, a lot of eyeballs are watching that, but I think where you can really shine is that second outside zone and keeping your composure past that front clip and dialing it in and leaving a lasting impression coming through that second outside zone, and then just fill that last outside zone in the chase job. I think that's what really needs to be done.
Let's represent.
Here we go. Michael Essa out front. Dylan Hughes, like I said, maybe kicking back here, give himself some room. You see Michael Essa some wavering there, but he keeps it very high. Dylan Hughes mid-range. Now past that front clip, stays out of the smoke. That smoke signal could really throw you off and blind you. So you can see Dylan Hughes taking that shallower line. Essa going all the way out there, showing you why he's a former champ. Transitioning now into that final outside zone. A lot of rubber being kicked off of both the vehicles and past that finish line, Ryan. So don't know if Dylan listened to my advice, but again, still decent, still some opportunity, but Michael Essa, man, he delivered out front. Solid run by Essa.
Yeah, he really did, and that's the best time and opportunity for that chase driver to attack. Here's where Dylan kind of starts making his mistakes in the impression that you want to give to the judges. He was down a little bit lower, had a little bit less angle on the big bank. And outside of the inside clip here, you can see that as Dylan starts to transition here, you want to try to get in the pocket with this lead driver. He comes down a little bit lower and he lets Michael Essa fill that zone very deeply. So Essa's got two filled zones, the big bank and the second inside bank, that he pretty much did flawlessly. He pushes a little bit wide on inside clip. Dylan comes up tight, keeps the pressure on. So I think overall picture here is that solid lead run from Michael Essa. He stayed long and he was really deep into outside zone number one. We saw that Hughes had a bit more consistency in his chase this time, but still was not really maintaining the line that Michael Essa was drawing around the track. And that's going to be an area where if Essa can do better in that position, he could take the win here and move on into the top 16.
Again, Dylan's livery there. It's half black, half white. This white with the polka dot celebrating 75 years of keeping engines clean all the way back to World War II. So it gives you any idea of the history that Gumout has. Here we go. Can he take out Michael Essa? Dylan Hughes needs to show up in grand fashion, but he knows he's got Essa in his rearview mirror. Dylan Hughes initiates that rain X size, showing us. Oh, nice job by Dylan Hughes, really high. Essa barely giving enough room to pass the transition, past that front clip into the second outside zone. And there we go. So look at that, Essa even going slightly deeper into that second outside zone, past the front clip, both about the second hash mark. And Essa now jumps into formation. Ryan, that is a really, really good job. And I think Essa took my advice to heart.
Well, I think what he showed there was he was more of the attacking style type chase driver on that second run, and that may be the point of difference there. Dylan Hughes got super high on outside zone one, rubs that bumper for a long period of time. Look, as soon as he initiates, he's already mid-high and then starts moving higher and higher and higher. Michael Essa playing a little bit of catch-up there. Dylan Hughes is right up against the wall. But from this point forward, Essa is right there. He's keeping the pressure on. He always seems like he's in the attack there. And when he backs off, it looks strategic because then he gets right back up in the pocket. Now remember, Dylan was down lower. Essa was able to stay on line a lot better with Dylan as he's chasing him down and take advantage of those areas where it opens up for him, especially on that second inside clip. Then he gets back up in the pocket, and from this point forward, he's keeping it pretty much door to door.
Remember the winner going against Chris Forsberg in the top 16. Let's see what we got here, Essa or Hughes. Again, the bird's eye view. Slide him left for Essa, right for Dylan Hughes. And looks like Michael Essa gets the victory. Michael Essa unanimously gets the win. And we'll go against Forsberg in top 16. How are we doing? You guys agree with that call there? Alexander put him on his head. He's yep, there we go. So,
I think their mics are up. Did Essa win? You guys think Essa won?
Yes, Essa won.
Yeah.
There you go. AEM Virtual Fan Zone as Brian there of Maximum Driftcast, Paco of Maximum Driftcast. And we're going to have a special guest later on today. Actually, two-time Formula Drift champion Tanner Faust will be joining us as well. So, and there is Matt Field. And this is how it's shaping up. 3 more battles left. Matt Field and Masuyama is our next battle. One of those drivers will go against Denofa. And then Ryan Turk versus Mohan, Naren versus Reeder. Yeah, so Osbo and Carney.
What are you thinking about these battles for the top 16? You like anything you see there?
I would say that, you know, every driver has their day. I don't want to call them dogs because everybody's got a, you know, dog in the fight. But I would say that, you know, Osbo and Carney, good battle. These guys, good friends. Gittin and Castro, you know, and also Turk's got to get through Mohan, and then Turk would have to go. I mean, just again, hate to make claims. We'll see. But right now, another Formula Drift rookie, Masuyama. He's going against Matt Field. And Matt Field has you know, he speaking of Gittin, he had to go against Gittin twice in Texas. So he'd love to advance on the 16 and avoid Vaughn Gittin Jr., who's our current points leader.
Yeah, I know, that was crazy.
Right. Here we go, Matt Field in that Falcon Tires. Pedal Commander, Drift Cave Corvette. Yeah, massive jump there. Masuyama getting iced on the line. And it looks like he's going to continue on here. Matt Field past that front clip into the second outside zone. And Field continues on. Masuyama in that S15 Sylvia. Now, Buy Now Japan, Sylvia overcooks it. Oh, man, I thought I was going to see some paint exchange. Wow.
Masuyama definitely seems like he dialed a bit more grip into his car, but as you said, Jared, he really didn't get a good jump off the line there, and he really gave Matt Field more room that you want to give a guy like Matt Field. He's won this event before, so he is very familiar with this track. Now, you can see Masuyama was able to kind of peel it in a little bit, but Matt Field, as he gets through that first inside clip, is really making a good progression towards a solid lead run. You can see he gets right through the inside clip number 1, deep into outside zone number 2. Masuyama now starting to try and attack, but he was really playing catch up until this point, not really able to keep the pressure on. And so if you're Matt Field's spotter, and this is where he really pushed hard, had to angle up, then pull some angle out of it. If you're Matt Field's spotter, I think you're saying here, hey, you know what? Moderate amount of pressure on the lead driver. Don't take too much of a risk because it's going to require a solid lead run from Masuyama and just, I would say, an above average chase run from Matt Field to take the win here. He's got himself in a good position.
Yeah, no, I think he's got to be feeling a little quite confident here. You can see the Buy Now Japan S15 there get some rubber in the door. Now he's going to be out front. I believe this got to be Masuyama's first time driving Irwindale, and for a lot of these drivers, it's, you know, going, and we were talking about earlier, Ryan, I know you're a big fan of surfing. It's like surfing, like Dagger said, surfing Pipeline or surfing Jaws. It's intimidating.
Yeah, this is definitely pipe.
Here we go. All right, Masuyama going to lead. Matt Field giving chase. Let's see what we got. Masuyama initiates mid-bank here. Whoa, buddy, gets in that wall. Changes the attitude, and literally the back end of that S15 Sylvia pulling away from Matt Field. But Masuyama risking it for the biscuit, and Field slides to the side of him. But I got to think here, if Matt keeps it within the line, doesn't hit any cones, I believe he's going to get the win, unfortunately. Liked where Masuyama was going. I mean, I didn't like him going into the wall, but obviously he knew he needed to throw down.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I really like the aggressive approach, especially on the big bank. It's high consequence, high risk. And you can definitely tell the car has been getting more dialed in with grip, because to be able to hang with Matt Field is one thing, but right there you can see he taps the wall, pulls a little bit of angle out of it. And for Matt Field, I think it puts it in perspective overall, because Field was a little bit lower on the bank as he was trying to attack, and you don't want to have that. But Masuyama did make some pretty sizable mistakes in his chase run, and so I think comparatively speaking, as Matt Field had a solid lead run, that mistake by Masuyama will cost him in looking at the lead-to-lead and the chase-to-chase comparison.
All right. Believe we're going to have a... And there we are from the bird's eye view.
See, we see a lot of drivers do that. They dive in and kind of fall down a little bit. But once Masuyama makes that mistake, you know, Field's keeping an eye on him, giving him a little bit of distance, but still enough where he can surge like that, move forward, close it down on inside clip number 1. And then this is where we saw Masayama make his mistake in the chase. Matt does not replicate that. He stays pretty much on the line, and you see a beautiful shot as he just comes up a little bit tighter there. And will that be enough to convince the judges that Matt Field moves on?
All right, slide him left for Field, right for Masayama, beating the beat as, yes, Matt Field go ahead and gets the victory. I said beating the beat like Jersey Shore there. Relax, Chris. All right, we have 2 more battles left, and one very important one up next. Ryan Turk versus Kyle Mohan. Ryan Turk, that Gum Out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. Kyle Mohan in the American Ethanol Mazda Tricks Mazda RX-8. He bowed out of the first 2 doubleheader weekends, and there is that, again, point distance, 8 points separating first and second. And you can see Chris Forsberg, who's still in it as well. Chelsea Nofa in it. Osbo, Odie, unfortunately knocked out. JTP knocked out. Kazuya Taguchi in the mix. Could he shake things up here from 32, and he's in 16. So Denofa versus Field, that should be another fun one. These guys, again, really get torqued.
Field is just constantly getting an RTR car.
Oh, gosh, that's right. Yeah.
No, not that Mustang, that Mustang.
No, not that one. Yeah. Well, again, you are here at round 7. This is the Type S title fight. Round 7 of the 400 Pro Championship. You can see Ryan Turk. See the numbers. Kyle Mohan is he's unknown. His numbers are unknown, but he drives a Mazda 20B RX-8. All right, Ryan Turk will lead. You can see the composure there. Again, the car buttoned up back. Let's see how he handles it here. Boys at Race Service cheering him on. You can see inside the cockpit there, a lot of twitching going on there in the cockpit of Ryan Turk and his Toyota Corolla. Talking about bumper overhang in the driver's meeting. Ryan Turk barely has any. But look at that, goes and throws it into the big bank. Good angle from him. Kyle Mohan keeps it mid-line now, past that point of no return and past that front clip in the second outside zone. Ryan Turk made quick work of it. Massive angle there from Ryan Turk. Little corrections here and there from those rotor-form wheels wrapped in the Nitto tires. Whoa, buddy. Oh, he goes for that cone, takes it out. So he does on that transition, overshoots it. So that would be considered off course, but I don't think a ton, you know what I mean? Again, if he did tap that, if that was a wall, I think he would have tapped it, maybe knocked off a bumper.
Well, let's take a look as Kyle Mohan aggressively gets a start against Ryan Turk. Coming up, trying to keep the pressure on, but Turk was nice and high on the bank, stayed with that line, then really pulled a gap through inside clip number 1. Got right there in position as he left foot brake into outside zone number 2. Mohan starting to surge forward, coming through that smoke line, but then Turk back on the accelerator, blast into the final outside zone, and a big plume of smoke there as both drivers cross the finish line as Ryan Turk maxes out the angle, and there goes Kyle Mohan as well.
All right, let's see Kyle Mohan, the Menace. He will be leading. Kyle the Menace Mohan. Ryan Turk will be given chase. Let's see what this American Ethanol Mazda Tricks RX-8 can do out front. And Ryan Turk, again, currently second in points. Let's see what Turk's got. Chasing down Kyle Mohan. All right, coming into the bank. Mohan initiates. Keeping it mid to high on the big bank. Handling the front clip is Ryan Turk. Now in that second outside zone. Nice job by Kyle Mohan. Massive angle there from Mohan. Putting it down around that front clip. Hangs out there quite a bit, Ryan. And there, oh, you can see him, oh boy, collecting them all. And Ryan Turk got to the side of him. So it was a good run for Mohan out front. Really good angle, but like I said, he hung it out long on that second front clip, and it threw him offline.
Yeah, Ryan Turk should not be looking past Kyle Mohan. You've got to have championship mentality throughout this entire weekend. And Mohan, as you said, got a good start on his lead run. You can see that Turk was down lower a little bit further on that big bank, Mohan gets into outside zone 2 with good angle, and now Turk starts surging forward. He backs off for a second as Mohan hits that inside clip. Turk is right in the smoke line as he transitions and moves. But then right here you can see that Kyle does go off course, and those course markers there indicating the point of the course that the judges do not want you to go past, and he took out a couple there. So let's go to their scorecards and see who moves on.
All right, Ryan Turk says, how do I keep my composure? I think about my family, my brothers, my dad, and my wife. So there you go, Ryan Turk, and of course his mom. There you go. So Ryan Turk gets the win, so it seems thinking about his family definitely worked. Unfortunately for Kyle Mohan, he is knocked out. So shout out to Parker, Tyson, and Steph. Love you. I will see you guys later. Again, shout out to my family watching. Hey, what's going on? Paco playing the finger sticks, Dorito power. All right, we got a Chelsea Denofa fan here, Mia, and yeah, 88 RTR.
I don't have any paper, otherwise I'm rewriting.
Chris, you could look. I will happily Venmo you 5 cents for a piece of paper there, bud. Like in the AEM virtual fan zone. One more battle left to forge our top 16, Ryan, and want to take a look at this schedule because we don't have fans. Do we have a quicker halftime break, or are we kind of given a longer one?
It's a quicker one, but we got through this pretty quickly as well. We'll be back in competition around 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
Yeah, 5 o'clock local time. Currently 3:15. So as long as Reader and Naren get through this battle, with no hiccups, we'll be done here in just a little bit. But it's a good time to break out the Aim High Air Force trivia. So if you haven't already, go ahead and click the link in the description on the YouTube page. What is the official name of the B-52 bomber? Is it the Spirit, the Lancer, Stratofortress, or Eagle? So what is the official name of the B-52 bomber? Which one of those? Find the link in the description on the YouTube stream page and join the conversation as far as Formula Drift comp continues. One more battle here at 32, Naren and Reader. Naren, a Formula Drift rookie. Reader making history last year with the first ever all-electric vehicle in competition. Now he's back to Old Red as it's deemed. So let's see how Naren and Reader handle it. Naren, I believe, not having driven Irwindale prior to this round, but he's back in his old faithful. He's back in his old gray, maybe, as opposed to old red. Naren pulling away from Reader. Naren throwing it down. More angle. Taps the bumper, straightens out, and now eats the wall. And Naren will have a major deficit there. We'll see if he calls an NGK spark plugs timeout. Competition timeout, that is.
Yeah, not what you want to have happen in your lead run there. So that's a tough break, and an opportunity here for Reader, who's had a really good season in terms of the driving, but maybe not getting the results that he's wanted. He's had some really tough battles against some top competitors, and here's an opportunity for him to break into the top 30, the top 16. Let's take a look at it again. As he starts, you could see he was pulling some angle out of the car, and as soon as that back bumper goes up, see all of the tire particulate, Jared.
I know you love that word.
That starts popping up, and that will accumulate just even in this session, even though that we did sweep and vacuum the entire vehicle, the entire track prior to competition and after practice. So much of these tires are shredding and move up against that wall. It's a very dangerous place to be. You've got to be super careful.
All right, are we getting a competition timeout? And we are. So Naren is calling a competition timeout. So it's a great time to educate you. In addition to providing spark plugs for domestic and import vehicles, NGK produces spark plugs for motorcycle, power sports, marine, and outdoor power equipment. NGK also offers complimentary ignition product lines, including ignition coils, resistor caps, spark plug wires, and high-performance cables. For reliable performance, trust NGK, the ignition specialist. Visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn how NGK is redefining the category with high ignitability technology through its ruthenium HX spark plugs. You can see Naren there in the hot pit area, our actual pit area just outside of Irwindale Speedway. Naren jumps out, checks it out, seeing what's going on here on the right side. So the NGK competition timeout Clock starts, I believe now. Yeah, I can see the clock in the, all right, let's throw it down to Lorette. Lorette, what's up?
Hey, I'm with Steph Papadakis, and as you can see, Ryan Turk's car is being towed off of the track. What's going on?
We've turned everything up for this weekend because it's Irwindale, you know? Car got really hot after the last run. It ran well. He obviously got his win. So we're going to go back to the trailer now and analyze it. But when it's that hot, it could be a cooling system issue, could be an engine problem. Either way, we've got parts here and a couple of hours. So we're going to go work on it now and fix whatever it is.
Okay. Okay, Steph, thank you so much. And if you wouldn't mind, describe this season and how it's been for you guys.
Oh, man. I think the season has been a blessing in contrast with everything. You know, in April, we were concerned that we wouldn't do any events this year. And already being at the 7th round today of 8, I think we're definitely fortunate for us to have some competition. So, you know, we got the new Supra, we got Ryan in the Corolla. Ryan is second in the championship, could potentially win this weekend, and we're doing everything we can. We're doing everything we can to try to win this weekend and win the championship.
That's awesome. Best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Lorette. And yeah, Stefan, I think his mind is a couple different places between, you know, Freddie and his vehicle, obviously Turk, where he's at, you know, what's going on. And as we follow Ryan Turk back to the pits and that Papadakis Racing camp. When we come back, we'll continue with the second half of the Naren and Reeder battle. Naren goes in the wall. You fought the wall, and the wall won. When we come back, we will see our final battle of top 32 here at the Type S title fight, round 7 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship.
The quality of Japanese craftsmanship. Brid.
What is power and control? Power is the sprint. Control is the hurdle. Power is the flame. Control is the perfect stake. Power is turbulence. Control is containment. Power is the ignition. Control is the sensor. NGK and NTK. Power under control.
We're here for the perfectionists, the champions of doing things right. Whether they're in the shop or in the driveway, they trust O'Reilly Auto Parts, because good enough won't cut it here. For over 50 years, we've been helping perfectionists get exactly what they want and exactly what they need without compromise, turning that problem into a problem solved. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
The Falcon Azenis FK510 tire is engineered for today's high-performance vehicles. Built with added tread rigidity for precise handling and an advanced rubber compound that inspires confidence, rain or shine. Get more out of your sports coupe or sedan with the Azenis FK510.
And there we go. The clock is starting. You can see Naren and his team working feverishly on it because the NGK competition timeout clock is ticking. You can see, looks like the RTR camp coming over to help him as well, that front right corner. Let's see what those all right, yeah, so as Von Gittin Jr. and Naren, they were part of the Octane Academy back in the day, a show that had a lot of drivers competing, including Naren. part of Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s team. Yeah, Tanner Faust back in the day, Brian Deegan back in the day. That's when those guys were on Ford or, driving for Ford. And Vaughn obviously still is. Yeah, KB, Mr. Headhunting in charge. So it's quite a bit if you look it up. Naren was part of that competition. So all hands on deck, including, again, the other teams. RTR ready to rock, helping them out. Just, you can see 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes left. Can Naren make it back to the line, or is Travis Reeder going to be handed a victory? As we saw Reeder and Old Red. Ryan, what do you think of the competition so far? Nothing too surprising, but I mean, outside of maybe, I guess the biggest surprise for me was Odie Bakshies. That's really unfortunate for him. Had the mechanical, but and also Forsberg, just his engine grenading.
Those are some of the the standout ones, and in some sense, you have to think it has to be about a kind of attrition that drivers and cars have been experiencing, and that was one of the questions that we were wanting to kind of answer coming into this, is that are these doubleheader weekends going to shorten the life of vehicles? And I don't know if the answer to that is yes, but I have to imagine that, especially with somebody like Chris, who's been doing this for so long, losing an engine and not having a backup, really puts you in a compromising position. Yep. I still don't know, and I haven't heard what happened to Odie on his lead run, where he had some sort of malfunction and had to basically get an incomplete on that run. But I think you're right. Those are the two of the biggest surprises so far. The way that the bracket is shaping up, we're going to see some championship important battles pretty early on there. Yep. And by the time we get done with tonight, we'll be able to do the math and figure out, all right, this person needs to do this. If this person does this, then that person has to do that. Right. And of course, our eyes are going to be on the top two guys right now, just because they're so close in points, 8 points separating them, while there's, I think 40, 50, 60 points behind them are the rest of the field down to fifth place.
And theoretically, they could find competition in the finals. That's basically where they would meet, meaning Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Ryan Turk, only separated by 8 points. They could go all the way to the finals, because Vaughn Gittin Jr. is top left, Ryan Turk is bottom right. I mean, obviously, given they still have a lot of competition left. So how are we doing out there? Our AEM virtual fan zone. Nice. As all right, so Alexander, hey, if you guys are looking to join the AEM virtual fan zone, I got a text from Paco, and he says, just slide into those DMs, Maximum Driftcast or AEM Intakes Instagram for access. So if you're watching at home and want to join this, we're seeing Osbo fans there. Chris, congratulations, you afforded a piece of paper and you can write some. Over 9,000. We see again. Again, the text is small, but again, if you want to join that conversation, this guy's got a whole rack of paper. Man, you're balling out of control, bro. So again, slide into the DMs on either Maximum Driftcast or AEM and join that conversation. 20 seconds. Oh, this looks like it's going to be a wrap. We're saying, there's no way in 20 seconds you're going to button that up and throw the wheel on. So, that's no dice for Naren. And Reeder looks like he will be given the victory, unfortunately, with Naren going hard on the wall. Tough year. Been looking forward to Naren joining the Formula J Pro competition. He's been threatening for quite some time just due to different sponsors and this and that, and now he worked it out and had the Shelby Mustang, popped a couple engines earlier this year, so it just got a little taste. It's definitely difficult, but that ISR Performance S14 is going to be parked until tomorrow. He'll be back tomorrow for round 8 of this Type S title fight weekend, or not tomorrow, excuse me, but Sunday he'll be back. So, so Travis Reeder will pull up to the line. Lorette Nickel is with Naren now.
Jonathan, I think unfortunately it was a case of the tire marbles just grabbing you and chucking you into the wall, but I mean, talk about the tenacity of your team.
Yeah, I mean, these guys go in and day out, especially here at the track. These, I wouldn't be here without them. Behind a good driver is a great crew, and these exemplify that. So shout out to my team. Unfortunately, we did get high in the marbles, like Lorette said. It was tough, stuck to send. We were a little bit light on angle when we got into the marbles, and I just couldn't bring the car on around. But like Mr. Deanda up there always says, there's always another, There's always next round of the doubleheader weekend. See you guys Sunday. We're going to have this thing back rocking and rolling. ISR Performance S14 is going to be a different story in top 32 next round.
Jonathan, thank you so much. Jared, Ryan.
Kind of gave you a little bit of props right there, kind of in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, no, it was good. It's all good, man. Every dog's got their day, right?
Truth be told.
Yeah, truth be told. Yeah, to be quite honest, that's what's up, Naren. Thank you so much. All right, so here we go. Travis Reeder, Old Red. This is his bye run. I like what Naren said. Tomorrow, on Sunday, top 32, it's going to be a different story, baby. Here we go. Let's listen to Old Red purring down the lane in the GT Radio S13.
Nah, Old Red doesn't want it. Old Red doesn't want to give the virtual room anything to cheer for here.
Yeah, the boys in the AEM virtual room said turn up the noise on that exhaust note, but Reeder, he's Travis Reeder, the Walmart greeter, is chilling and cruising around. So, looks like that will be a wrap here on top 32. Reeder will be going against Ryan Turk. So that's going to be a tough battle, Ryan. We'll take a look at the bracket here in just a moment, but notably Vaughn Gittin Jr., Ryan Turk are in it. Talking about top 16, we will have a short break and we will be back. Myself, Jared Diendo, Ryan Sage, and Lorette Nickel down on the ground. So here's how the bracket shapes up for top 16. Vaughn Gittin Jr. goes against Castro. Dio Shahara versus Taylor Hull. Adam LZ in that borrowed vehicle. If you're just tuning in, Adam LZ had to borrow Odie Bakshis's vehicle. And speaking of Odie, he got taken out by Dan Burkett, or he took himself out. And then Osbo and Dean Carney. Ryan on the other side, we got Forsberg versus Essa, Kazuya Taguchi, Jeff Jones, Chelsea Denofa, Matt Field, Ryan Turk, and Travis Reeder. So when we come back, we will be in top 16. That is in about an hour and a half local time. It's locally 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be back with live stream 5 p.m. for top 16 opening ceremonies and competition to find out who will win here at round 7 of the Type S title fight at the House of Drift, Irwindale Speedway. We'll be back at 5 o'clock p.m. local time.